Make up your mind. Fill up your day. Oink, oink, smart little bites that brighten your way. You're listening to Food for Thought Radio here at fftradio.com. Food for Thought Radio here at fftradio.com.
No, order, sit and leave.
This is the best political satire broadcast in the universe.
Order! I say to the honourable gentleman, give me this.
You are listening to Fockham Hall with Eric von Essex.
Good evening and welcome to another exciting show. I do hope everybody can hear us loud and clear. There was a slight technical issue as we was coming in live to link up with Food for Thought Radio. I think we're live. Everything looks as if we are, so there we go. And tonight's show, the theme is the political party that could never be elected. And the title is Ugly AI Recognition, because that's basically what we're getting with political parties today. And I don't believe in government. But joining us tonight is, starting with who was first on live, first to come on. It's Anorak. Good evening, Anorak, our Transport Minister.
Good evening, Eric.
And
Good evening.
Patrick, our cheese ambassador, and the last Zulu outpost of hang on, where are you, mate?
Wisconsin.
And Wisconsin as well. Here we go. So there we go. And of course, Paul English down in where are you? You're down near Brighton. So
I'm down in England.
Englandshire.
Down under.
We go. Down under, yes. And as I say, there was a slight technical cock up, wasn't it, when we started? I'm going to rearrange the screen so people can see the chat. But what we do need is the first person on, of course, gets the raspberry and the choice of 2-finger salute and raspberry of a celebrity or politician of their choice. And here's Newkey Brown. So good evening, Newkey. Thank you very much for being the first on, and please choose wisely. And meanwhile, I'm going to fart around with the screen and try and get people to be able to see the chat. So let's have a think. Now, this AI can be used for good as well as bad. And political party that could never be elected. Let's have a think about this. Paul, I think...
Which one?
Yeah.
How many
one.
Pauls are there?
Well, Paul...
Right. But he's English too.
He's English. No, he's Anorak when you're on, you see. So
I'll go by Anorak, that's fun.
That's right.
Or Oi, or whatever.
That's right. But as I say, the political party could never be elected. What will be our first thing? And of course, remember, it's American as well, because Patrick will be... he's now got into the White House. He's now president of the United States. So, Patrick, what is your first policy? I mean, what are you thinking of doing? You've told Trump where to go.
I happen to have a speech all queued up that of what we're going to do, and I'm going to play it right now. It's about a minute long.
Excellent.
We assembled here today are issuing a new decree to be heard in every village in Plymouth and Tavistock and on the beach at Pandower. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's gonna be only jam first. Jam first.
Excellent.
Every decision on scones, on splits, on clotted cream, on cakey tea affairs will be made to benefit Cornish workers and Cornish families. We must protect our borders from the ravages of Ivor Dewdney, making our pasties, stealing our cream, and destroying the word bay.
There we go.
Excellent. The only thing I'm against is the jam first. But although I might lean, No, is it cream first or jam first?
That's from a Cornish perspective. So you
cream
take
on
it or
first.
leave it.
No, it's always jam first. The Cornishman's right. It's always jam first.
Yes,
You can't do the. We've discussed this at great length, and we should discuss it regularly for hours on end. Because if you put the cream on first, the jam slithers across the top of the cream. You've got no firm base.
Yes.
You don't have enough purchase. There's not enough foundation
See,
in the whole edifice.
Paul, I elect you. You're the head of cakey tea affairs of Fockham Hall. How
That's
about
right.
that?
Well, I'm just an advisor
I'd
or a
have
keen
to oppose
enthusiast.
The jam first, though. The reason why I'd oppose is because the cream gives you a substance and spread it across. If you put the jam on first and then put the cream, you run the risk of the cream ending in your lap, and then you've got an explanation to sort of try and explain. Why have you got a white patch
or an
on your
excuse.
hat?
I find that proposition extremely weak, Paul. I've got to tell you. I mean, I don't know what sort of cream you think you're going to be slobbering all over the scones, but it sounds runny, like the consistency of wet custard. No, it's firm. This is clotted cream, standing proud. It casts a shadow across the whole of the table.
Only
It's that
the
firm.
top layer it's only the top layer that's ever. Is congealed the right word? Probably not.
No.
It's-
Well, that puts excitement in it. This
Once you get-
puts
once
some
you get where the
urgency into the
surface-
eating, doesn't it? You're going to go, bloody hell, I better get that in my mouth first before it's going elsewhere. And jam's a menace, really. Hey, I've just bought some jam today, and it's obviously full of really strange, weird things, so I shouldn't have bought it, but it said strawberry vanilla jam. Seriously. Yeah.
Those go together.
I don't know. I'm about to find out. I've not had any today. I got some lovely bread. I can't stop eating this bread today, so I'm probably going to be the size of a small buffalo tomorrow morning. I got this lovely, crusty sort of wholemeal loaf. In fact, about half an hour before the show kicked off,
Was it a sourdough?
yeah, it is. Well, one's a sourdough, and the other one's actually they might both be sourdough. I can't remember now. But it's just that the crust. I brought it back about 3:00 today, and I put the knife in. The crust was so crusty. I went. Oh, I just couldn't leave it alone. It was just fantastic. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, it was really good. And I found an egg, Eric. I found an egg, a hard-boiled egg. My son threw a hard-boiled egg at me, so mayonnaise went in that, and I've just had a little egg mayonnaise sandwich with a bit of salt and pepper on before we started about 15, 20 minutes ago, and that's it.
Excellent.
Lovely.
Excellent. Will that be the Fockham cultural dish? Sorry.
Well, I think egg mayonnaise has got to come into it somewhere, Eric. It's a traditional thing for somebody. Isn't it?
Oh,
Sorry,
you're
the thing
going to
is
say,
with the
Anna, right?
sourdough, you are limited by time, because if you store it, it'll start to go crunchy, but they are nice. It is good in a soup, and if you ever do things like casseroles, sometimes you can just take a slice of that and just chop it up and put it in the bottom of your dish. Oh, I'll tell you what.
Hey?
Works a
I
treat.
think, Paul, you're probably one of the few people that have said soup or casseroles anywhere in England any time in the last week. I would imagine that the word soup and casseroles were the last things running through anybody's mind at all. Ooh, I must have some. I did say the other day, I said, isn't it time for a nice hot thick stew with dumplings? When it was about 34 degrees.
I do like dumplings, but I was just thinking, if we go back to the scones or scones, depending on where you are. By the way, in America, is it scones or scones, Patrick?
Scones.
Excellent.
10 points, Patrick. Absolutely spot on. That's the only way to pronounce it. It's not a scone.
That's right.
Never
it's a
has
scone.
been. Yeah.
And if the cream goes in your lap, now in my luck, you get some fat old dear across the cafe, takes a false teeth out, and says, "Don't worry, dear, I'll lick that off for you."
Eric, I'm glad I've not been out for a cream tea with you.
It could be a lot worse, Chris. It could be Keir Starmer walking past saying it.
Well, he's going to be some bigwig in NATO, isn't he? So they say.
The secretary is going to take over from Mark Rutte.
Yes.
Mark
And he wants,
Rutte of the Netherlands.
Oh! It just gets more and more reassuring with every passing second, doesn't it? You go,
yes.
what a wise choice that is by a lunatic, whoever. Oh God! Please, God, come and save us from these lunatics.
Right. I think it would be more safe to have a chimp in charge of NATO than him, because apparently he wants to carry on his hatred of Russia. Why does he hate Russia? I do not know. I mean, what is it?
I think it's
about
his
Russia?
lines, Eric. It's in the script.
Yes.
Now, Keir, for the next few years, you're going to be playing the hostile opponent of Russia. Am I? Yes. I mean, it's just madness. They're all in it together anyway, aren't they?
Oh, crumbs. Yeah.
Oh, God.
He's such an anchor, so they say. I said that with an A, you see.
A worthy anchor, is that what you mean?
Yes, he's a
right
worthy
worthy
anchor of his party. I haven't been rude, you see. I've been very polite here. Now,
He's a waning anchor.
Yes, that's right. But now, Anorak, you are now Transport Minister, and you're going to advertise how marvellous. Now, Fockham Transport, I have to say, is brilliant. Only trouble is it's only about 60 foot long distance. That's how big. But what I'm thinking, if we all declare our own homes as Fockham, you see, eventually we can then take over the whole of the United Kingdom. Just think about it. If everybody declared that
it'd have to be changed to plural. United Kingdoms. How about that?
Yes. Well, that's it. It'd be England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, and Fockham. But remember, Fockham's international.
Well, I guess
Fockham, you could be anywhere in the world and be Fockham.
I mean, people might view Fockham, if it was all these houses, Eric, and everybody's a sovereign in their own house.
Yeah.
Then from a distance, Fockham would look like a virus, would it not? Like pinging up all across the map, which would be quite nice, really. I quite like the whole idea of being a retrovirus. I think it's kind of needed, but
that's right.
Yes, yeah, I like that.
And also,
when we build houses, though, at the moment it's like 1 Willenhall Street, for example. Can we change it round so it's Fockham 1, Fockham 2? I think that's brilliant.
That's a good idea, isn't it? Yes.
I want to live at number 2.
And also, we don't have to pay any taxes because we've got diplomatic immunity because we're all diplomats. Because we've all got Ponzi titles. Everybody will have a Ponzi title. So there won't be any ordinary people. There'll be loads of chiefs and no Indians.
Hey, well, I've got a question to ask. And what's Paul English's Fockham name?
I don't have one yet. I'm still being vetted by the committee.
Yes.
I haven't passed the exam.
Right, okay.
I haven't passed the board exam or anything like that. So, because they haven't sent it to me.
Scone expert.
Administratively all over the shop, those lot.
Scone consultant.
Ministry of Scones. Yeah, that's all it is. It's probably the most important ministry in the whole thing when you think about it. Yeah. Yes, it's pretty important, isn't it?
Well, that's right. Yes, but the thing is, you were saying before we came on air,
get you a knick-knack knighthood.
Knick-knack knight.
Yeah, knick-knack knighthood. There we go. Absolutely. Yep, we need one of those.
Knight of the knick-knacks.
But Patrick, I mean, you must have met Cornish people. Thanks for putting that item on at the beginning.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever met. No, not in real life.
You don't want to meet one.
You're speaking to a part Cornishman.
I always thought they were legendary, mythological creatures.
Well, you're speaking to a possibly, I would say, 10%.
Oh, that's right. You're Cornish.
Well, no, not fully. I think it's my finger or something. It's Cornish. One bit of me is. My ancestry, it does touch Cornwall a little bit. So, but it's more sort of Germanic and Welsh boiled.
So it doesn't touch you at all then?
No.
When you say a little bit, you mean not at all. Got it now. Just getting used to the banter around here. I'm just doing myself in.
Well, yeah. I'd say Welsh on the English side, you see, because it's I'm on the my lot are on the English side of things.
I'm bloody lost here, mate.
Oh, by the way, do you know that film, famous one? Was it Al Green Was My Valley or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was filmed in Wales. It wasn't. It's filmed in California. Seriously. They actually made a Welsh village in California because it was during World War II and they couldn't come to Britain or England or Wales to do it, film it. So they literally built. They're bloody good. It was. California certainly looks like Wales. It fooled me.
I think I remember seeing it and just being really rather blown away by how sunny it was every day.
That's right. And
It's really well lit, and Wales is not like that. No, Wales has got gloom and secret places,
lighting.
and tons of little hills and bushes and things and walls and sheeps everywhere. And yes, it was a bit splendid. It was the best Wales has ever looked on film. No, not really. Wales looks great. It's got some fantastic places.
Wales has got the joys of Cardiff and Rhyl.
And also, what's that?
Take your pick.
Vehicle registration place is in Cardiff, I think, isn't it? It's the vehicle registration.
Swansea, isn't it?
Swansea.
The DVLA.
Yeah, DVLA, yeah. But when you look at Wales, I mean, there was a bloke who was in the Guinness Book of Records for going to the most funerals, and he used to actually put his best Sunday best on almost every other day, and he went to a funeral. He loved funerals, and he's actually in the Guinness Book of Records, and he was Welsh. Not of his family, of course. The police would be involved if it was his family, but anybody, he'd look through the newspapers and find out who's having a funeral, and he'd be at the cemetery every day. Miserable bastard.
No, I'm just wondering whether he advertised his services, to swell the ranks of the mourners.
Yeah, how did he make his money?
It's really quite interesting. Did he run ads in the papers? Dead? I'll turn up.
Die today.
Bob Spriggett. Go to funerals all the time. Professional funeral mourner, looks very gloomy.
Miserable sod.
Bring own handkerchief.
They don't call me Mr. Death for nothing. Yes, call me now on, all that kind of stuff. I don't know.
There's some South
Must
Wales.
have cost him a bit.
He must have. No, I think he went by bus. He was in his local community. He just sort of went.
Bus was really cheap. Special discount. If you go to a funeral by bus, it doesn't cost anything. That's really good. You have to look into that, Fockham Hall Minister of Transport. That's really cool. I quite like that.
Hey, well, do you think when he got on there, do you think when he got to the bus driver and he said, I want to go to the cemetery, do you think the driver said, do you want to return, or are you just on about planning to stay there?
Yeah.
Well, that's what at my granddad's funeral, my three uncles, who were all comedians, people, they couldn't keep a straight face. It's a funeral. That's how my granddad would have liked it. And there's his brother was there, and he was must have been in his 80s then. And they said his name was George. I said, "Hey, George, you better stay here. It's not worth going home, is it?" And some of the black humour they were coming out with, it was unbelievable. Talk about happy funeral, crumbs. But my granddad would have liked it that way. That's the way he was, But there's a place. I've been to Wales several times, but the South Wales, it's got the most bloody depressing villages ever. There was one, I can't remember the name of it. If you said it, if you had some peppermints in your mouth, you'd pebble dash everybody. But it was black slate on these dark cottages with slag heaps, is coal slag, around it. And it was a depressing day. And bloody hell, if you want depression, you go to this. I can't remember. It's somewhere in South Wales. Someone might know it.
I don't know whether it's always depressing, Eric. It's a good stimulation for the more thoughtful parts of the soul. This is why they produce so many poets and things and sing a lot, because it compels you to actually bring your own sunshine into your life due to the absence of natural sunlight. It was grim because a whole mining nation practically. They were there for the mines, weren't they?
Wasn't Tom Jones from Wales?
Yes,
he was. Welsh, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
And the band that sung about Wales, called Abergavenny, was from Hertfordshire. It was Marty Wilde. He sung all the way. Are we going to Abergavenny? And he thought it's such a weird name that he wrote a song about.
Yeah, they do have weird names in Wales.
Oh yeah. What about the longest word in English language, isn't it? I can't even pronounce it. It's about a railway station, isn't it? It ends with go go go.
Yeah, is it one with like 4 consonants in a row? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, mate. What are you going to say?
Clanfairpool Gringle Go Go Recon Drop with the Anticilio Go Go Go. You mean that one?
Bloody Nora.
That's good.
I'll ask you to spell it though.
Good heavens.
I'll spell it for you. It's easy. We used to do it all the time as a spelling test at school. Oh, I've got to spell that again, sir. Yes.
I know the railways shrink it down to Landfair PG.
But Wales isn't famous for comedians. That's the only trouble. They don't really have many comedians, do they? I mean, do you know of any Welsh comedians? There was one that got booed when he came because his humour was Welsh. It wasn't English. And when he came to England, he didn't last very long. But
let me ask Grok: are there any Welsh comedians?
Harry Seacombe wasn't a comedian, really. I mean, he was Welsh, but Monty Python bloke, he was Welsh.
Terry Jones.
Terry Jones, yeah, he's Welsh.
Oh, well, there
Yeah, I
you
suppose
go.
it was. Yeah. But there's not been many Birmingham ones. Jasper Carrot, Birmingham.
Oh, I bet there has. I just don't think
Did he
we
still
know
alive?
about them. I bet there's loads, really. I bet there's
Yeah.
maybe not famous ones, but
Nah.
I don't know. You'd have to have a sense of humour to live in Birmingham anyway, wouldn't you? In fact, you've got to have a sense of humour to live in England, just about anywhere, to be quite honest.
Yes.
Except if you live in London, it's impossible to have a sense of humour, really.
Terry
I've used
Jones.
the
You
new
need a
regulation.
tank if you live in Birmingham. If I'm
We're not going to go to Harlow again, are we?
no, not tonight. We'll give it a week.
Well, Blue Ray said he quite liked mumbles. Sounds like some sort of venereal disease, doesn't it? I'm afraid he's got the mumbles. Oh dear, that's a shame. We take this; it might go away.
What I do find funny is when you see trains in Newport that says Taff's well. It's like it's keeping you up to date on how Taff is. Oh, Taff's well.
Oh,
Who's Taff?
what's a Welsh name?
I've no
isn't it,
idea,
Taff?
but it's a place in Wales.
Yeah. And well, actually,
And
Wales is
And if you
famous.
travel on Chilterns, you got Gerard's Cross.
Really?
I don't know why he's pissed off, but he obviously is.
No, what's this? Mark Anthony has said there's a really funny clip on YouTube of a funeral in Ireland where the deceased recorded a message to be played at the graveside. The message was him saying, hello, let me out. And the Jollyman said, Rob Brydon is Welsh. So there we go. And Welsh, apparently the language is very close to Hebrew. Have you heard that?
Yep.
And they can actually understand a lot
Yeah,
of
I
Middle
understand. I get
Eastern,
that.
you know. Yes. It is a weird place, though, and that's where the famous. Did you get the television series The Prisoner in America?
I think they did, but before my time.
Yeah. Patrick was very, very young. That was the 60s, wasn't it? That was after
The
Danger
Fugitive.
Man.
Did you
Danger
have
Man.
the Fugitive?
Yeah, you got The Fugitive, didn't you? With David Jansen, wasn't it, in the TV series?
I don't know, but I know that.
He had very big ears. I do remember that.
Yes. No, it was it was that fellow, Irish bloke, wasn't it? Acted the part. Can't think of his name.
Patrick
He was
McGowan.
And him as well. Yeah, that's
McGowan.
it. McGowan, yes. But he ended up in America because he was born in America, and his parents brought him back. I think his parents had a history of mental illness because they brought him back to, I think it's England before World War II. And but he always felt his home was America because he was born there. So there we go. You know,
He played Longshanks in Braveheart.
Oh, him. Okay.
Oh.
I know who
One
you're
of
talking
one of
about.
his last roles, I think, because I don't think he's.
He played the hero in real life, and I take it.
Yeah.
Because that character was more of a hero than he was made out to be.
Edward the First was quite a fella. Yeah.
He certainly was.
Any bloke that throws puffs out of windows, all right by me.
Yeah.
And the other one he did was.
Am I allowed to say such a terrible, foul, and unfeeling thing?
In honor of Gay Pride Month, yes.
Twat off.
No,
Just
you're
threw him out
talking
the window.
about
Oh,
furniture, aren't you? That's what you put your feet on, isn't it? It's Artem of furniture. That's what you're really talking about. Oh, that's a close one. And anyone remember Haji says Max Bush? Yes, I do. Hello all. Yes, he actually did a routine in Dagenham. Okay, he came to Dagenham. I know this for a fact because I know somebody that was there, a working men's club, and there was silence throughout the audience because he didn't make anybody laugh because it was just Welsh humour, and they just sat there and they said a slow clap, and he just walked off. And he said, "I don't think I've got your sense of humour." And that was the first and last time he played in England because it's all oggy, oggy, oggy. That's all he said, wasn't it? Oggy, 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 and all this, you know. But there's an actress, Catherine something Jones, Zeta Jones.
Zeta.
Yeah.
Yes. Is she still married to that geezer? What's his name? Kirk Douglas's son. Or they divorced yet?
Michael?
Yeah, is she's still married to Douglas?
Michael Douglas.
Michael?
No idea.
Yes. But Port Marion is where The Prisoner was filmed. And if you see it on YouTube, it's worth watching. It was years ahead of its time, and it's predicting what is happening now. And
what's that? How so? How so?
Well, it's written by Patrick McGowan, and he is put on this this mysterious place, because he knows too much. The English government he knows too much, or British government do, and they parachute or get him. They put something into his room where he's living, and he wakes up and he's in this very strange place where everybody's given a number, not a name, and he is number 6. And everybody's on this sort of false smiles and hello, how are you? And they're controlled and watched by cameras everywhere. And that was in the 60s. And he tries to escape. And he does escape. They let him escape. And he tries to convince the authorities that this place exists. So they said, prove it. So he gets in a plane, a reconnaissance plane, so he thinks, to fly over this place. And they jettison him out as they fly over. Because the authorities are in on it. So that is The Prisoner. Bloody brilliant. And he was he could see the future.
It sounds like an early version of The Truman Show. Very similar.
Yeah. It's worth watching. Not the remake. The remake is crap. The original is brilliant. It really is. All right, special effects are a bit shitty, but it was brilliantly done. And do you know that big balloon that come up on the beach? Did you know that there was a machine that was going to do it, but the tide came in and something went wrong with the machine. It blew up, and they saw a weather balloon coming over, and they thought that's the way to do it. So they used a weather balloon. So it's actually a weather balloon that they use. So there we go. A little bit of trivia there. And Alice Gorgeous says, "Darling Buds of May with Jason the Wrong'un." Really? Is he a wrong'un? I didn't know that.
Jason the Wrong'un.
That's
what makes him a wrong'un?
David Jason. I think.
Yeah, David
Jason.
He's
been up to naughties.
Has he? We've got to be careful because he's got very good solicitors. So allegedly, yes, he is Alice. Oh, it's something I don't know about. So,
I don't even know who it is. I couldn't tell you him from Adam.
Played
Really?
Del Boy.
Yes.
Del Boy?
That means anything.
Del Boy. Yeah. I suppose you
In
didn't
what?
get Only Fools and Horses. That's very English.
No. Yeah, it must be.
Yeah. Now, hang on. Alice Gorgeous, there's something going on in chat here. It says, Alice Gorgeous, is Jason mates with old Kitty Pitchard? Don't know.
Picard.
Yeah, don't know.
Pitchard.
No idea.
Pitchard, don't know. Anyway, he's a wrong one. So, driving this forward, now, what would be our first policy, putting finance aside, and that my first policy would be to eventually abolish government. So you gradually give people back freedom. So
I have a question though about that. Has
Yeah.
there ever been a time where there hasn't been a government?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
I don't know about it.
It was in Poland for 2 years after the Berlin Wall came down. It was in Argentina when they had financial problems for, I think, 18 months. And
when people don't have money, then, in other words, because didn't the financial system collapse and then they don't have access to money, so it's like you have to negotiate and barter and that kind of thing? Is that
Uh,
the basis of government, in other words, is money.
Probably. I do not know regarding Poland. I don't know whether the money collapsed in Poland. If someone's Polish can come in the chat, or anybody knows in chat, I don't know. In a way, the Amish haven't got a government, have they? As you're saying, it's run by
They do. They have the bishops and they have the clergy and that sort that guide them. Yeah, they have meetings and
but they don't have
chiefs.
laws and things like that because it's up to their own.
Well, they have like theological laws that guide their politics, and I think that's the basis of all politics. It's theology, whatever the theology of the culture.
Can you get booted out, the Amish? I mean,
yeah. And they're kind of like Mennonites, where the Mennonites are a form of Amish. They're a little bit more secular. I don't know if that's the word for it, but when they're like teenagers, they're given the opportunity to take a sabbatical away from the community, so to speak, and decide if they want to leave or stay, or leave and then come back or not. So now, I think the Amish are similar.
Now, Alice Gorgeous says, Eric, can I assign myself a fuck and roll? Certainly. We've all got Ponzi titles here, so come on here, Alice. What are you going to be? Agony aunt for
what's your specialty?
What's her forte? Yeah. Yes. What's her forte?
What's your forte? That's a good one. Yes. I mean,
we'll think of one.
Can't be scones.
Can't
be scones.
Yes, could be.
No, can't be.
We got some
Paul's got it.
So what's that, Paul?
Paul's got the scones taken care of.
Yeah, so we can't have scones. Yeah. No. As Aunt Sally also needs to have a fock and roll as well.
Bath. Something to do with bath.
The bath expert.
Bath expert. That's right. Yes. Aunt Sally, what are you in the bath, out the bath, or making some delightful, delicious cakes for when you go to Miles? Then we can.
You don't want to drop your cakes in the bath. There's nothing worse than a soggy cake, is there? It's not cake then. Yeah. It's just mush. By the way, I was a bit quiet there because you said The Prisoner, and I went into a big sort of nostalgic kickback period in my head. Just to let everybody know, on YouTube, the entire series is there, all of them. Brilliant. All 17 episodes. It's not that many, but it made a real impact. It's wonderfully surreal and really way ahead of its time. It's 1967. It's just... I remember seeing the trailer. You know those big balloons that they used to release across the beach? They're really weird.
That's right.
You remember? Yeah, so someone had escaped. They send these... There's a name given to them, these animated balloons. It was the weirdest sort of idea.
They were terrified of it, weren't they?
Yeah, they were scary. They used to suffocate people, didn't they? They were like having a balloon stretched over your head. Yeah. Very, very weird. Anyway, it shows you that in the psychological warfare department, they're always very well advanced back in 1967 of getting everybody bricking it about things. So, yeah.
Do you remember that control centre where they had women on like a seesaw going around, monitoring people all the time, watching what they're doing? And, it was bloody classic. But it's got to be the one with Patrick McGowan, not the remake. The remake is shit. Patrick McGowan one, the 60s one. That's the one you need to see. And now Alice Gorgeous wants to be head of immigration or the lack thereof. Excellent, Alice. Excellent. Head of immigration. So what are we going to do? May I suggest also we ought to have bring back the rule of treason and find out treason, who has committed treason in government. I'll tell you something, they'll have after.
Now wait a second, that presupposes that there's a government, doesn't it?
No,
treason.
Past governments.
Okay.
They'd certainly be buying job lots of toilet rolls, wouldn't they? Yeah. Sorry, Anrak, what are you going to say?
I was going to say, with Alice being head of immigration, does that mean she'll let everybody into Fockham, or is she going to patrol the borders of Fockham and keep everyone out? Obviously the current immigration situation is that we let everybody in.
That's the point. Yes. I mean, at the moment, there isn't an immigration crisis in Fockham. there was a load of birds landed on the bird table this morning, which was a little bit of overpopulation, but they buggered off after a while.
I think the population of Fockham probably does need to increase. Probably it might be useful if it was less than a handful.
It could be to help Fockham people to immigrate.
Yes.
Too. You know,
Yeah.
Where are you going to immigrate to?
I know, and then people would say, "Oh no, we're having to take on more of those Fockers." That's what they're going to say. There's boatloads of Fockers arriving. What are we going to do with them? Yeah, absolutely, it's going to be a challenge.
Now,
it is.
Could do one thing there though, which we could house them in somewhere like Harlow or Birmingham for 6 months, and if they really, really, really want to come in, they'll do that 6 months.
Yeah, quarantine.
I think that'd be brilliant. I think
Fockham Hall quarantine.
You boys, wouldn't you?
Oh, that definitely. I mean, you know, as I say, if you say to anybody where I live, I'm going to Harlow, the usual response is, "Have you had a history of mental illness?" You know, something like that. But but surely you must have some really good shitholes in America. I mean,
oh yeah, Chicago, San Francisco. Los Angeles.
It's always shown as sunshiny, and people like Steve McQueen driving around in big vehicles.
Well, okay, you go to like Oakland and these other places, it can be pretty sketchy. Berkeley, really? Oh yeah.
But
it depends where you go. In these cities, like South Chicago, yeah, everybody talks about South. You know, go south of Chicago, it gets to be, you know, gunfights in the street, that kind of thing going on. Gangbangers, yeah.
Now. Puello 2 says government means mind control. To be governed is to be controlled. Bit like when they put a governor on a diesel engine to stop it overrunning. That is a good point. That's a very good point. To be controlled. Yes. Now, Pink Planet. Now, do you want a Ponzi title? You know, Minister of something or other. Pink,
Minister
yes.
of Pink. Yeah.
Now, Aunt Sally says, no, I just woke up from having a kip. Had a heavy weekend. Attended a wedding all day yesterday. I got home very late. Went to church early this morning. Was so tired. So you missed the wedding. Kip is asleep. You have a kip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But hang on a minute.
Does that explain kipper snacks, like sleeping? Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Talking over you.
I was saying, can I put an idea forward for Aunt Sally then? Because she makes good cakes. Could she be the Minister of Muffins?
That's a good one.
Muffin Minister.
Yes, muffin ministers, nothing like. Hang on, don't be naughty. Sorry, I'm just saying to myself, don't come out with something smutty. Actually, you missed the wedding. That's a shame because I had a heavy weekend. Attended the wedding all day yesterday. Got home very late. Went to church early this morning. What? I was so tired. So you went to church early this morning and found out the wedding was yesterday. Sorry.
What church does she go to? I wonder.
I don't know. What church do you go to, Aunt Sally? So there we go.
Be interesting
a nice
to know.
one. Yes.
A nice one, yeah. Beautiful one. Yeah.
Yes. I know it's in a quaint part of Great Britain, so there we are, in England.
Hopefully not one of those that fly that multicolored flag.
I very much doubt it. I very much doubt they put it. But now, Paul, you've been very quiet. I mean, are you watching the?
Yes, I've been
still looking up The Prisoner. He's still looking.
No, I've been watching all the episodes. No, I haven't at all. No. Well, I was actually thinking of the post of. What are the titles around here? Is it minister? Is that what you would be? Would you be a minister of?
Anything you want. Yeah, you can.
But you see, government. The whole idea of government is really fascinating, actually, isn't it? Because we don't like it because of the way it actually is, but it seems unavoidable that some form of it has got to exist. Yeah. Whether I agree with that or not is beside the point. If we look at history, as Patrick said, that's always existed, and the problem is that some Greek fella with a big beard once said, the problem is if you don't get involved with it, you'll be governed by arseholes. That's it in modern parlance, and that's really the case. Right. So, we don't like it because it's now morphed into a culture of just consistent lying. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just non-stop.
you may not be interested in government, but government is interested in you. That was Ronald Reagan, I think.
Yeah, very interested because it attracts a personality type that sees government, rightly, although it's a wrong thing to do, as a way to get their hand in your pocket and boss you around.
Yes.
You know, and I'm reminded of that thing from Tolkien where he said, you know, no man's fit for government. I'm paraphrasing. No man's fit to run anything, least of all those who seek the office. And we've all heard. He's not the only person to say something like that, but it's good. I was thinking anyway about this thorny little topic called education. Education, yeah. I think it's pretty important. In fact, I'd put it right up there because if you look at, say, at many of the things that we talk about, particularly, I know we're not talking about banking tonight, and I don't mean, I might just inadvertently stray over there from time to time. I don't want to sit on it necessarily, but one of the core reasons why we're in such a mess is that nobody understands it.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with government. I mean, look at Jesus. He said, whose face is on that coin you have over there, and render to Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's got a lot to do with it. I just didn't want us to sort of drag the show over there. Not that I mind going over there, as you well know. I mean, I love it.
Well, this show is about politics.
Well, so, it is. Yeah. It is. But I think, so people don't... The whole thing about education is, and it requires a lot of, I guess, quite a bit of reading to get to grips with it, is that we've all apparently received one. It's highly dubious how much use it is.
Who are the primary educators of children? That's the first question. And I would say that it's mom and dad.
Yes, I would say it is too. I mean, I've just been reading I haven't finished it today. I've been reading an essay, as I like to read essays. I think they're good. Do you remember, I don't know if you'd know of Patrick, but there's an authoress, an author anyway, called Dorothy L. Sayers. Does that name ring a bell with anybody here?
No, never heard of her.
You never heard of her, Eric? Nobody?
No,
Is it only me?
She related to Roger Sayles?
Well, she's quite well known. I certainly was. I think back in the 30s and the 40s. She wrote a lot of like crime and detective stories. Dorothy L. Sayers, mysteries and things like this.
Sayers, not Sayles.
Sayers. Yeah, was an English lady with quite a brain on her. Anyway, one of the things she wrote was an essay on education. And I've only got about 7 or 8 pages into the thing. And it's really rather brilliant, actually, because I think it was written in the sort of early 30s. And the points that she's making are very much the points that inadvertently and indirectly we make around this conversation, this ongoing conversation about things. And at one point she's saying, have you ever been in a conversation with people and you realise they don't understand a bloody word that you're saying? What's going... That's the gist of it. All the time. What's this about? And, of course, if we went to school, we had these things called subjects, didn't we? Like geography, like history. But early on, she goes back and she looks at the education system in medieval England, and I would suspect across Europe as well, right? Medieval Europe. And it's very interesting. I'm going to use a word that we've called, it was broken into 2 parts, called the trivium, as in 3. And
Steve talks about that a lot.
Yeah, he's right.
Steve. Yep.
Absolutely. And the quadrivium. And she says the second part, the quadrivium, consisted of subjects and need not for the moment concern us here. She's not bothered about the subjects. The first bit, the trivium's the key bit. It's the bit that we don't get taught. And the 3 bits are, this is going to sound so dull, right? I really think it is. Grammar, dialectic, and rhetoric. These things they're not dull at all, but to the modern mind, they sound awfully dull. And
reading,
grammar,
writing, and reckoning.
Sort of. I went off and just looked these things up. There's a sort of point here with this. He says, so for definitions, for the avoidance of all doubt, I just did a quick search. That's why I was a bit quiet. I just thought, let's get some actual definitions here. See if, we'll go with these. These are the first ones that popped up. It says, grammar is the set of structural rules that govern how words, phrases, and clauses are arranged to form a language. It goes on, but get it. Okay, it's a set of rules about languages arranged to form a language. That's how you do it. Dialectics is a philosophical method of argument and reasoning that resolves contradictions to discover truth. I quite like that. That's quite interesting, isn't it? So that's dialectic. And rhetoric is the art of using language effectively and persuasively to inform, motivate, or convince an audience. And so back in medieval times, that's what you were taught. And everybody else around you was taught this as well. So you couldn't get away with much because they all become very good at rhetoric and dialectic. And they were using grammar correctly. And it struck me, even though this seems anal, that one of the problems that we've got with trying to transmit ideas at the moment is that none of us really have been trained to think right. You know,
Yes.
I think part of our reaction
Especially
here,
these days.
especially these days, and one of the things that maybe I think instinctively we've railed against all our lives is that we know we're kind of thinking in an ineffective way. I mean, this seems a bit dry, but you get caught out at school, you know. Why should you just plow straight into subjects? In other words, were I in charge of the Ministry of Education or whatever blithering title we give to the damn thing, right? It seems to me that the most important thing to teach is how individuals understand the principles of learning, how they all become autodidacts, how they understand. In other words, grammar, rhetoric, and dialectics are absolutely vital for being able to get to grips with understanding stuff. And if you've got a large enough group of a population or a village or a town or a city that are up to speed on that stuff, right, and have been able to get to grips with it, the quality of your communications and the intelligence that you're going to share will be through the roof in comparison to what we've got today. And I think one of the reasons why we look back on a lot of this old stuff is we sense, rightly, I think, to a great degree, that there were a lot more people that were competent in that regard. They sort of understood how their brains were going to work. And therefore, they were much more capable of working out and resolving disputes. I mean, I could be wrong about this because they've got so many bloody wars, right? But it's missing. I mean, you know, if we look at the quality of communication that comes out of so-called ministers' mouths, it's a bloody joke. I mean, it's not even funny. It's beyond stupid. None of them are coherent. They're not. It's
Paul,
just one pack of lies after another.
I heard the Keir Starmer's parting speech, and I couldn't help but
Stop
think
crying.
of that. Well, yeah, I couldn't help but think of that Mars Attacks clip that you keep playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to get that back. That's the thing that went with a hard disk drive. I'll get it back. But absolutely, you know. So is that man good at rhetoric? Come on, give me a piece of
Now, talk
joke.
about crocodile tears, but I'll tell you something. Aunt Sally has come up with a good one. She said, I want to be Fockham Hall head of moral programming. I would instill in people to take care of themselves, others, and not to lie, thieve, cheat, and steal. Women would be women, and men to be men.
Yep.
So that is a good one.
Well, morality is nothing more than practical reason, so that's good.
That's
Teaching
very, very
people to
good.
be
The thing
reasonable.
is, with the education system, would we need an education system, or would we have youngsters
you would
learning
need it.
skills like
You
You
would
need an
need it.
education culture if you don't have a system. Like libraries are part of the culture, aren't they?
Sorry,
Don't you think?
Paul.
Sorry, I'm talking over you, Paul.
No, you're saying that, right?
So so education side of things, teaching life skills, things like that, so the children know how to be self-sufficient, how to look after themselves, a bit like what Aunt Sally's saying. So they get taught, you know, that nettles in particular are good for hay fever and stuff like that, and things that will actually
Guilds. Go back to think of guilds.
benefit them. Because let's be honest, because things like maths and stuff like that is really their world, not the world we really need. So we'd need our
numbers are
world
quite
would be
useful.
better learning how to look after ourselves and understanding
I agree.
natural
I agree
law
with
and
you.
how nature works and what we can eat and drink and so on and so forth, and not living in the world that's currently controlled by BlackRock or whoever it is, the top of the chain. Obviously, we need those out of the way. We
Morality.
need to be sort of learning our own
I
skills
think you're
and-
right, Paul.
You're spot on.
and
Now,
living as a community.
And the system that we're in, to a great degree, not only thrives upon, but is responsible for creating this systemized so-called program of education. We've talked about, like back in the 1800s when these great big projects of mass public education came in, the main purpose for it was to create a literate and numerate, not a grammatically and rhetorically and dialectically gifted people, but to make them literate and numerate in the most basic sort of way to operate the machinery that they got planned to come in to transform things. There's been a lot of benefit from it, but also the real benefit was that they were going to control it all and that they were going to be able to control things even further. So, and education's a biggie, isn't it? Don't you think? It goes really deep with everyone. Everybody's got school stories, and I guess we all got a selective memory, and you only remember the good stuff, which is maybe understandable. Not that I can really remember too many bad things at all, apart from the boredom. There was a lot. I got bored a lot.
Bored. Yeah, same here. I was gazing out the window, and I'd never forget the teacher said, I always remember this. She said, "Curiosity killed the cat, and that's what's going to kill you." I'll never forgot that.
Curiosity.
Oh man.
Yeah, well, I'm not a cat, miss.
Black
so
thing to
up
say to
your
somebody.
backside. I'm not a cat. Have a look. Am I purring?
I was always gazing out the window. And, now, Liz answered the question. She said, "I go to a Baptist church where they were the only one that fought to stay open during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't wear masks nor socially distance. Also very based. So Baptist,
nice.
Didn't they're an offshoot from, excuse my ignorance, from C of E." I don't know. I think here in America, they're the Methodist and the Baptists. Those are the two biggest, I think. And I'm not sure about the history of Baptists. But the Methodists, you had them there. It was John Wesley. He was a good one, as far as very logical fella. So,
yes.
I think it's good on you.
And
better than not going to church, in my opinion. But go ahead.
I think one of the education things that should be kept is geography, but not the crap geography that we learned at school about things like infant mortality in Uzbekistan and crap like that. But actually learning maps and where places are, I think that's quite a useful one. But I mean, does anybody ever anybody go to their first employer and say, "So what have you got? What have you got to offer?" Well, I know what the infant mortality and the density of rocks are. Is that any good to you? Not really.
But I used to sit down reading. I still do. I love reading maps. I'm fascinated with maps, and
people don't read enough. I think would be a benefit to Fockham Hall to have teach reading to educate people just to read. Put down your phone for a while and read.
I agree with you. And now,
why do people read though? Why do people read?
To learn. To learn.
They do.
Human knowledge.
Why do they want to learn?
To be better themselves in their condition,
and to be of more value to their kith and kin, really, and
right.
to have something possibly every now and again valuable to contribute into a conversation, which can promote good thinking by those around you or rebuttals. I am kind of fascinated with this whole idea of learning how to learn. So if I'm just going back to this trivium thing, if you say, look, these are the basics of it. I'm assuming the Greeks taught this sort of stuff, and maybe it goes back that far. They used to. Euclid wrote a book on geometry. This sounds awfully dull, doesn't it? Right? And yet, if I said to you as a 12-year-old, "Oh, we're going to be doing Euclidean geometry," you'd go, "So I can't come in today," right? It's just that the whole sound of it is dreadful. It's like we're going to be doing Latin. You know that sort of shrinking feeling in your soul when they're talking about.
We're going to build a temple today, children.
Yeah, now that's more interesting.
Yeah, you gotta put it that way.
We're going to build some stuff. I'm going to show you what all this stuff is. There's something about the type of thinking that takes place around, in this case, architecture or the construction of a thing that's different from the sort of analysis of data. So it's as if you've got young people that begin to understand how they as an individual think and how others think in terms of, well, grammar, dialectics and rhetoric as these basic things. Then after you've got that in place, you go, now what do you want to do? And Paul might say, well, I'm really keen on geography. Off you go, mate. You wouldn't need a teacher.
I agree.
You wouldn't need
100%
one.
agree.
You've got one.
100% agree.
The teacher then is you. In other words, our job would be surely to equip ourselves, even now, because most of us have never been given this stuff, right, with the tools to keep developing in the area that you choose to develop in. And then everybody, you go, you're all individuals. I'm not. That kind of thing. But they would, but you'd see it getting expressed. And the reason, I guess one of the primary reasons why we don't see that to the degree that I think it used to happen, I can't prove it, of course, it's just a perception really, or a feeling, is that the systemized nature of life today, that doesn't suit control systems, does it? And now what's happened is you've got AI and all this knowledge that people used to acquire, you kind of don't need to, but you do need the means to interrogate it. And if you haven't got rhetoric and dialectics and grammar, you can't interrogate this stuff that's coming back at you. And you go, oh, that's brilliant. You go, you don't even know whether it's brilliant or not, mate. Do you really? Actually, no, I think about it. No, I don't.
Paul, you've heard of the phrase the honor system.
Yes.
And I think that's the basis of government is what do you honor in your life? What so for instance, you have these flock cameras. Well, that shows that you don't have an honorable society because you need to be monitored all the time. So
hang on, flock cameras, you call them something different in America. They're flock cameras.
Whatever you call them there, it's security cameras, whatever they call them. They're all over the place. Yeah. That shows that there's a breakdown of trust in a society, and that's what you need to have a well-governed society that doesn't break down into chaos. You have honor.
Don't you think, Patrick, though, that I think your point's true, that's predictive programming by the government. In other words, every time they say you need protecting from something, like there's a big outbreak in crime, and I got to tell you, in my entire life, I've never experienced living in a crime-ridden place ever. Yeah. Right. It's just, I go, where is this all going on? They go, in these city centres. Okay, so that's where, we don't need it around the rest of the country because the rest of the country is still,
you've
to
been
a great
around
degree, operating normally.
Paul, you've been around alcoholics before, though. Come on.
Yes, I have, yes.
Okay, well, you know how they are. They're unpredictable. You don't know what they're going to do at any moment because they're in a state of inebriation that can't control themselves as well. So you're dealing with that kind of behavior. You're going to, that's kind of an example I would give.
I guess, but how, what I'm saying is, I agree with you. It definitely takes place, but they've amplified all this stuff, haven't they? Like, if I was to get all over, say, everybody's getting drunk in Sussex. No, they're not. But they could make a big deal about it, and most people don't have the ability to rebut it. They go, no one ever says, show me the evidence. Really? Do they?
You got a good point.
Rather than having the surveillance cameras, would you not just take away the alcohol which is causing the problem in the first place? Because we know that alcohol
that's what I mean by honor. The honor system. You trust your neighbor.
But well, I think that's one thing that needs to come back is the trust in society. That because obviously the government are so keen on making us in fear of everybody else. Like you get on a train and every station you get this
by promoting disorder.
Thing is antisocial behaviour on board, and there's no. You'd very rarely see antisocial behaviour on board trains. Probably more so buses, but not so much trains.
You don't.
It's being instilled in us to be in fear of our fellow passenger. But years ago, you'd sit around the table of four, and you might have two people who you didn't even know, but you'd have a chin mag, and we weren't in fear of each other. It was.
Isn't it the case that if you create good circumstances, people behave better? They just do. I mean, there's a lot of videos at the moment of Americans traipsing around the UK. There's one guy in particular who's lived here for about 12 or 15 years. He's married to an English woman. And what he keeps saying, he says, right, I'm going to show you a really dangerous part of London. And it's just completely normal. And what he's trying to get across is this stuff is hyped up through the bloody roof. To whose benefit? I'm not saying that this stuff doesn't go on. I know it does, right? But they're actually causing it to happen by telling us that we need to be protected. All of this stuff, we don't need one surveillance camera in England. Not one. It won't solve anything. It doesn't solve anything, except it lifts more money out of your pocket and puts more control in their hands. Oh, you need us to protect you even more. We need you to just bugger off.
And I'll tell you something else. Driving. Now, I love driving. I used to love driving. Now, they've got new rules on the motorway that, you know, even, excuse my language, even if you scratch your ass and pick your nose at the wrong time, oh, you can get done for this, done for that.
Dangerous.
They got sensors to see whether you got your seatbelt on, to see whether you got it on the mobile phone. And also with speeds, they do average speed detectors on the motorway. I mean, it's just becoming misery. I mean, that would be one of the first things I would do is, one, get rid of all these speed cameras, all this shit, seriously, and get back to where people can enjoy driving at a safe speed.
But what happens if you pick your nose and you've got a massive bogey on the end of your finger? You're then going to be distracted because you've then got to decide: do I eat it?
Point.
Do I flick it out of the window?
How hungry am I?
You've got to drop the window down. Do you
Or
try
shove it
and flick
under
it
your
onto
seat?
somebody else's cart? Roll it into a ball for later.
You've obviously got some big challenges there going on, Paul.
Yes.
This is quite an insight, really.
Yes. Now,
It's,
Pink Planet.
that's the thing. I mean, it's distraction, isn't it?
Pink Planet, who I forgot was our Spanish minister, who isn't Spanish, but I thought, well, she goes to Spain a lot, so that, you know. So I will speak slowly in case you are Spanish. No, you're not Spanish, you're English. Vicar at our local C of E church during COVID wore mask, took it off to speak, did a sermon about Christ's love being indistinguishable, demonstrating with one of those candles that won't blow out. Yep, it's unbelievable what was going on there. And apparently, Waltham Abbey, you weren't allowed in there during the lockdown.
Really?
And I always thought the doors were open to churches, whatever happened. Now, Matilda said, laugh out loud, Pink. My local church all wore masks and did the distance thing. I shook hands with the vicar at the end of the service. Is he still alive, the vicar? You know, did he catch the naughty stuff? You know, but no, it's. I think that, as I say, what I would do is, I would take down all these bloody speed cameras. I'd do away with the driving test, and I'd do away with the driving license. And also make it that you own the car. You're not the keeper of the car. You are the owner of the car.
Yeah.
And install into people common law. Do not do injury, loss, or harm. So that is...
It's called common sense.
Common sense. So
I mean, I think, Eric, there are people out there doing these sorts of things. And it's simply, again, a matter of communications horsepower.
Yeah.
I.e. rhetoric on steroids. It really is, you know. Although persuasion's a funny word. That's what rhetoric, the art of persuasion. I don't know whether anybody really gets persuaded about anything. I don't even know what the word persuade means. I mean, I've got a feeling for it. I'd have to look it up. I mean, it sounds a bit anal, but are you ever really persuaded into a thing? I think what it is, if someone's convinced me of a thing which 5 minutes prior I was not convinced of, it's generally because they've provided information that satisfies me at that moment in time is true, and I get a different perspective on the thing, and I suddenly see that this course of action is actually, that I initially thought was good, is not a good choice. There is a better choice here. We'll go for that. Thank you for, removing my stupidity, basically, which is an ongoing thing. So, I mean, that sort of falls onto everything, doesn't it? I mean, do you think you ever get persuaded? I mean, does advertising persuade you to go out and buy things? I mean, I'm not aware that it's never done it to me in my life.
It has to me. I saw something on social media about these cameras that are license plate readers.
All right.
It was talking about this certain type of Rust-Oleum spray called 214944.
That's it. I've seen it. Yeah.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
Well, that convinced me to go out and buy a can of it.
Does it work?
I don't know yet. We'll find out.
But, that's a good point. Yes, and the other one is, those things they put on the screens of laptop computers to stop people looking over what you're doing.
The camera.
No, you put it over the whole screen. So if you're on a train or something like that,
so you can't see it, like a polarizer filter.
Polarizer
of sorts, yeah.
And people are putting them over their number plates so that these cameras are up high. can't read the number plate. But
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's terrible. These people.
It's a patch. It's a quick fix, but it doesn't fix the root of the problem.
Well, the root of the problem
ultimately.
is, it's so terrible. I mean, I would never advise. I mean, I'd never go to Aldi to buy their cheap angle grinders and see how they work on these camera posts. I would never advise that. It'd be a terrible thing to do, isn't it? Aren't they?
No, wait, no. Falcom Hall, does Falcom Hall believe in a tax? Because I think that there should be some sort of wealth tax, like people who make $1 trillion. Come on, like Elon Musk, for instance. Should he be allowed to have $1 trillion?
Or should he be restricted from where he can spend it? In other words, if he made it all in America, shouldn't it actually all stay in America? Right? Yeah. So you can spend it what you like, but if he spends it in America, then it continues indirectly to benefit other Americans.
Kind of like the Chinese. They have a currency for trading outside of China, and then they have an internal currency.
And Germany did during World War II. They had the Deutschmark and the Reichsmark. And if you went abroad, you'd use the Deutschmark, but if you used it at home, it would be the Reichsmark.
So in this case, Eric, internal currency would be the Fock-Bob.
The Fock-Bobs
would be Fock-Bobs, yes.
The
Fock-Bob was worth...
And the external one would be the Fock-Off, I suppose.
Yes, the Fock-Off, yes. So you go...
This is quite rude, because I was thinking exactly the same.
Well, yeah, I knew. I've hung around you too long, Paul.
So you go to these sort of Middle Eastern markets where they haggle, and you say, "I'd like that saucepan, please," and the bloke says, "Oh, that'll be $300," and you say, "Fuck offs."
He's selling some fuckum kebab.
Now, Exo says nearly all PE teachers seem to also teach geography. Yes, and why do they always have leather patches on their jumpers?
What? Physical education teachers are geographers? How does that? Yeah, well, I suppose, you run plays, you need to know geography to run a play.
Now, I must ask you, Patrick, did geography teachers in America always have pullovers?
I never had one. Sorry.
Pullovers with leather elbow patches on them. They do in this country.
No. I've heard that college professors have that sort of thing.
Yes, weird.
I don't know. I have a 9th grade education and then I quit, so I don't know.
Well, we don't
8th grade. 8th grade.
So what subjects do you get in America then?
What's that?
I mean, obviously we used to get crap like. In school here we'd have things like English, maths, geography, history, obviously, which is bullshit really. Music occasionally, PE. Then we get crap like knitting and.
Well, wait a second. Some of that stuff is good, like the home ec,
cooking,
home economics. That stuff is useful. Come on, I mean, you need to learn how to cook yourself some food.
But then you're only taught to make pizzas.
What's wrong with learning to make pizza?
Well,
I think more people should learn to make pizza.
In Germany,
to make bread.
That's right. In Germany, in the late 30s, they had this idea, and I'm not praising or anything, but this is a good idea, where they ask grandmothers to and grandfathers to hold like a university. Grandmother. I think it's only for women, where a young girl would go along, and grandmothers would teach them home economics, how to cook, knit, things like that, and they got a diploma at the end of it.
You remind me of the Amish. These girls, they all learn from the older ladies how to do the things that they need to do to make a uniform for their husbands and their children, and it's all passed on, and they learn from the elders. And in a society where you have the elders should be like living monuments.
I agree with you. We're not. This is the trouble with our culture, is we disrespect the elderly and put them in granny dumps, which I think is the most terrible thing ever. And what my sister's doing in a granny dump, I don't know why. So that's another weird thing. Because I heard about that, because I don't have anything to do with my sister. Earlier part of this year, my brother-in-law wrote to me and told me that she's in a granny dump. Again, why? I don't know why he can't look after her. But Now, Axo says,
Well,
I blame.
it gets to a point, if someone's to the point where you have to lift them off the floor every morning at 3 a.m, it gets to be tough to do.
I can understand that,
see.
but apparently he said that she's fit. There's nothing wrong, and there was just something wrong. They couldn't understand what was wrong with her mind, with her brain.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Anyway, I blame the cheap Adidas tracksuits. That's what Exo says. But it's strange that why geography teachers are physical education teachers as well. Weird, that one, isn't it? Now,
I don't get the semblance between, or I don't get why they end up being geography teachers too. But that's from my own inexperience of teachers in general, and we never had geography in grade school. Maybe later on they would have. I don't know.
Now, Pink Planet, I think I wouldn't go to church now. Too many Looney Tunes in this area.
Depends.
Yes, I'd agree with you.
It
Depends where you
which
are.
church. Yeah.
Yes.
If they've got that multicolored flag in front of it, then run.
Now, Exo says number plate reading cameras, Eric. That's right. Yes, I'd do away with them. They would be the first. I'll give them a Viking funeral. Here we are. We've got some questions here. Sorry, you're going to say, mate?
I was going to
Come on, Eric.
say the one question I was going to say is how do we? I guess can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose our first challenge would be to undo a lot of the bits that have been taught to children in the first place, like where they identify as a cat or a dog or a lamppost, or and they don't know what sex they are and that sort of thing. I suppose that's our first challenge, is to undo what they've been brainwashed. The people have been brainwashed to think that they are. Yeah. Get them back to reality.
Now, this is an interesting one. Alice Gorgeous says, question, why not bring back track and trace for the bad people and the treasonous? What was track and trace? Can't remember that.
Track and trace is during COVID. If you had the vaccine or not.
Yes, that's an interesting one. Yes, good point. Good. Yeah, you've just reminded me. Now, Pink Planet has gone against what you said, Paul, about crime areas. She says, not true, Paul. At Edmonton Green, oh bloody hell, yeah, Edmonton Green, people always getting mugged, and local council would say not a problem. Government trying to play down violence now.
Oh, I didn't say there wasn't any. I just said I've never lived in an area where I've ever experienced it. I could have done. I could have gone up to Hare Hills when I was a kid, and that was noted for being a violent place, and I knew where the areas were, but I've never spent a long period of time in an area noted for that sort of stuff. Maybe I just got lucky or something. And of course, the fact that it happens anywhere is not good. No one's saying, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's amplified.
Yes,
I think it's very easy to use it and to scare the pants off of everybody else. I'm not saying that these things don't take place, and of course, somebody's got to do something about this. I think there's a lot of measures that can be taken, but you can't rely on the government to actually take them, because I think they're one of the prime causative reasons why it's actually springing up. They want this.
You can't rely on thieves.
Yeah,
you can't. It's part of their culture.
No,
they're just, who are the biggest thieves, as far as I'm concerned. If you just look at the nature of way most of the individuals operate in government, they don't tell the truth very much, because they just don't. And so there's no sense of sort of purpose or willpower for the people of England at the moment. Those are the only ones I'm really qualified to talk about. Even Wales and Scotland, I'm not at all. I've never spent any time living there, but I do consider them as very close brothers and kith and kin, because they are, even though I personally don't have an experience of it. But there's no sort of big goal for the nation, and those things are very helpful, I think, because they bind us together. Of course, the environmentalists want us to think that we've got to save the planet, but of course, we do need to save the planet, but from environmentalists.
I agree with you there. Yes,
because the enviro bit needs to be removed from, because they're just mental. And because
yes,
they
100%.
don't understand things like actual facts. They're not persuadable either. They're completely impervious to excellent positive rhetoric. I mean, rhetoric can be, of course, empty rhetoric is really what you get from government mouthpieces. It's all sort of fluff and no substance to it. There's no actions that make any sense to it. Nobody actually pins them down and say, what does that specifically mean? What are you talking about? Nobody drills into it because no one's in the art of doing it. Whereas before you used to get that. It's like a cross-examination. And because there aren't any cross-examinations, we've all got a bit cross about it, to be quite honest.
Well, that's it. And
the dialectic.
Yeah.
Well, Mark Anthony's come out with a good one. He said, social media is a lot to do with it because idiots with phones are filming every incident and telling people bad things are happening on every street corner. And it's not, but sadly, some believe this BS. But I agree with you.
Yeah, it gives the impression. It's like you see all these gay pride parades in America, and you think it's all over the place, but it's not. It's only in these urban areas and ghetto communities.
They're given disproportionate coverage to pound into your head that this is going on everywhere. The fact that it's going on anywhere is appalling, of course, but it's not going on at the scale, I don't think, that they want us. I'm not talking about turning a blind eye to it or falling asleep on it either. I think that's going to be impossible anyway, because they intend for you to be alarmed, mildly alarmed, an ever-escalating stage of anxiety, and then they bully everybody around, and then you get everybody who's a bit scared making the most reactionary sort of decisions, which make it worse, which is what they want.
It does influence. Yeah, exactly. It influences people to the point where you get these people. Yeah, well, they make you think it's normal too, like people chopping their balls off and thinking that's great. It's eventually you get people actually doing it because they monkey see, monkey do, and they do it, and then they regret it, and it becomes very the civilization collapse occurs as a consequence in that region.
Yeah. Now, Nathan Lucius has come up with a good one.
Hello, Nathan Lucius.
Hello, Nathan. Have you changed your website, mate? I had a look the other day and it had gone. No, I'm getting technical problems with it, but it'll be up and running as soon as possible.
Have you got a bad case of the technicals, Eric?
A bad case, but that's right. There is. Hang on, I've got two names now. There's FockhamHallRadio.com and there's just Fockham, isn't there? Fockham. Hang on, what was the other name of the other one?
You've got FockhamHall.com, which has got a lovely picture of the toothy Terry Thomas.
Yeah, I say.
It's still there.
It's still
I don't
there,
think you should even do it. I just go and have a look at Terry's toothy smile every now and again and go, there you go. There's a nice English chap. And this is what we want and all this kind of stuff. And I know it's theatrical and it's a bit camp, but so what?
The best scene I saw him was there was this shapely young girl of the, I don't know, it must have been the 50s, with the stockings and that. And she bent over and he had a monocle in his eye and his monocle fell out and dropped in his glass of gin and whatever he had. And he went, I say, And that just said it all about it. They had this sort of saxophone in the background going, like they used to do,
I did work with a guy that was like Terry Thomas, called Stuart Willis Davis. And he really was like that. And he did have a monocle. Yeah, it was just fantastic. I got one of those guys in my life while they still existed. He was brilliant. He used to sell cranes in the Middle East, those massive big construction cranes. Yeah. And he'd made a pile, and when we met him, he was kind of on the way down, but he was full of swagger and confidence. He was great, really. And he would go, I say. And he really would do that. And the monocle would fall out during an exclamatory phrase or whatever, and clack down on his collar. It was just brilliant. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Oh, Stuart. Oh, you silly arse, is what he used to say all the time.
I worked with an engineer that was like that, and he was ex-army, and he was the one that told me about the Warminster thing, because I was into UFOs and things like that years ago when I was very, very young, and I was the stupid boy in the office, you see, and I was looking at this book about UFOs and things like this. One lunch hour, I was looking through it, and suddenly this character appeared over the top of the drawing board, took his hand over, excuse me, picked hold of it, looked at it, utter rubbish, sort of stupid boy. He gave it back to me, and he said, right. And he told me quite an incredible story. And in the late 60s, apparently, there was something happening in Warminster that was taking the paving the tiles off of roofs and doing some really strange things going on. And police officers were seeing stars, flying crosses, and things like this across the sky. Very odd stuff. And he said that he worked at that time for a department in the Ministry of Defence that's a bit like Q, where they put in they say, "Can you make such and such a thing?" and they would make it. And they got through this. I probably told the audience this before, but he got this sort of specification through to go to not Hamleys. There was a place in Holborn that sold kits and models. Can't think what the name was. Anyway, he was in West Country and he took a train up to London, and he had this enormous budget to buy the best radio controlled aircraft they had in stock, and he got it, and he had to buy several of them. And I mean, the people in this shop must have Beatties, that's the name of the place. People in Beatties must have thought Christmas had come early, Anyway, cutting a long story sideways, they were told that to suit these planes up, and in those days, in the 60s, radio control was extremely expensive, and that to put streamers on that were what do you call it, luminous, and that to really beef the engines up and that. Anyway, they sent them off. And then a couple of days later, they got them all back, smashed up, because the silly sods that flew them didn't know how to fly them. So he next got a report through saying, could his team come down to Glastonbury and fly these planes? So they weren't told. It was a question of, need to know basis. So anyway, his team went down to Glastonbury, and they were told to fly these planes very low over Glastonbury at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, to get a feedback of what people saw and what they thought. And they weren't told that they were model aeroplanes. And they got all the reports in, there was a UFO last night, we saw beings and all things like that. And all it was these blokes on this vantage point in Glastonbury going with planes about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, So, but he said, we weren't told what it was about or anything like that. So he said, that's true. And he just walked away. And he was a Terry Thomas type person. And you always knew when he was around because he had squeaky shoes that were highly polished. So, So that's the little thing about Glastonbury. And by the way, sorry, he's going to say, Paul, Patrick?
I was going to ask, what is the Fockham Hall policy on drones?
I don't know.
What do we think about that? Because it's becoming a big issue, and
it's not an issue where I live. I've only seen
one. It's an issue in war zones for one. And,
yes.
I just think this focus on it all happening over there, it could happen here sometime. If they're willing to do it.
That's a very good point.
I
haven't thought about it. But anybody in chat's got any thoughts on this? Why not? Or anybody else here? But Barefoot Foreigner, I won't read it out, but thank you very much for the kind comment. It's very kind. Thank you very much. That's nice. No, it's a polite comment, but no, thank you very much. And what's the other one? Now, Exo said, is it okay to suggest Germans are okay types? Eric,
Germans?
Of course you can. Yeah, Germans are all right.
Of course, they're men too, just like anybody else.
That's right. Yes. Now the thing is that drones. That's a very good point. I was actually in the garden when was it? About a month or two back. I heard this. What the bleeding hell's that? Sounded like a sort of a high pitched fly. I looked over and this drone flew over my house, and about a couple of minutes later, it flew back again. So it's obviously a private one. But apparently the Spanish government were using these drones during lockdown, and they flew them along streets, and they had loudspeakers on them. And they're telling people to keep indoors, and they was seeing anybody that weren't indoors. So pretty nasty. And they're making them smaller and smaller and smaller.
Surveillance.
I guess in that respect, they should be banned. They should be banned in Fockham Hall then. Obviously, people should be able to use them for taking pictures if that's what they want to do, but but just for recreation and not spying on people and so on.
Well, that's where morality comes in the honor. It's just you have to be able to trust that the person operating them is a honorable person that is upright and moral and not going to use it to bomb people he doesn't like, which you can use it for that. You can use it for good, you can use it for bad, and it's the question of your conscience at that point.
I think what it is good for is bringing in medical supplies to somebody that's injured on the side of a mountain or something like that.
Or supplies in general, because I've seen these videos in China of drones hauling concrete blocks up the side of a mountain so that they could build a structure on the mountain. It's amazing, some of this stuff.
And also, carry on, mate.
Yet at the same time, they've got them here, like the DNR, the Department of Natural Resources is what it's called, will do controlled burns, and they'll have these little ping pong balls filled with chemicals, and that will get a needle that will inject it, and then they'll drop the ball, and it'll start a fire, so they can start all of these fires. No, this is how they do it, and I mean, in a way, it's amazing.
Well, I guess,
but at the same time, you can take that same technology and do dastardly deeds with it.
Oh, it's a double-edged sword all the time.
If you've got a milkman who's delivering milk bottles, that might be a bit of a challenge for them if they're using a drone or eggs, for example. But yeah, I think that's for deliveries maybe.
Well, it's quite a revolutionary tech, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, and then the AI factor of how they use artificial intelligence to target people or to use it for good. You could use that also for good, like in a farmer's field, go out and spray fertilizer or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good with it, and there's potentially, unfortunately, a lot of bad. I mean, I think because they're relatively inexpensive for what they're able to do, because these are precise flying vehicles, like to the millimeter. So, I mean, I saw a thing about, I don't know how much it costs. You probably read all this one. I don't know how much it costs to produce an aircraft carrier, but they're not cheap. You don't get much change out of $1 billion, I don't think, these days. They're quite expensive. And yet the whole lot can be taken out with 5,000 drones that cost about $40 million or something.
Yeah.
You know, you just unleash absolutely clouds of drones, and they go, how are we going to deal with that? I'm sure, actually, they're coming up. They're coming out with... Well, it is, yeah, but that's today. Tomorrow there'll be an anti-drone technology that'll just knock them all out. So it just never stops. I mean, the idea that it's going to stop, it's a bit like when they invented cannons. Everybody thought the whole world was going to get blown to bits with Napoleonic cannons. They did. Oh my God, look, you see the devastation, we're all going to kill one another. Now, we didn't, of course, although a lot of people have been killed since then with even more hellish things.
Well, was it...
Maybe with this sort of tech and things like this that are... Maybe the test market, the people that should actually provide the decision on it, should be the politicians who have to endure it for a while and tell us whether it's acceptable or not. And you go, look, if you're going to introduce facial recognition technology, the first people to actually have it is the Houses of Parliament. And also, we want all of you on a live 24/7 database feed. And I also want to be able to look at your bank account 24/7. Because if you're an honourable guy, what difference would it make? So let's have complete transparency if you want complete transparency and control here, you do it first. You tell us what it's like. And we want somebody to report back on that. If what's good for the goose is good for the gander, of course.
Why can't we have cameras? Why can't we have cameras in House of Commons? And if you want to be an MP, you have to have a camera in your house so that the people can see exactly what you're doing. Nothing going on behind closed doors.
Yeah,
because surely we should know about it if there's any.
Of course, why not? What's the problem?
So what's the problem? And
we already have that. Smartphones are already there doing that, so there's surveillance everywhere. But then, potentially,
I'm not sure I'd want to see a camera of Anne Whittingham's bedroom, though. If I'm honest with you.
But you wouldn't have to look at that one. I'd be rather keen, actually. But no, not really. But, I mean, you wouldn't have to turn that one on, Paul. It'd be down to you, whichever one you turned on.
I just had this awful image go across my mind. I feel sick now. That is the cream from my scone going down my trousers, and there's Anne Whittingham sitting opposite me, offering to. Yes, we won't go there.
Eric, why does it always have to go in this direction? I don't get it.
Now,
There's
Nathan,
always some smutty undertone. I just,
me smut never. Now, Nathan Lucius has said, I go to a travellers' church with Holly. I effing love it. Does that mean that you
what's
sort
a
of
traveller? Sorry.
travellers' church? Does that mean you go to it one week and it's in Portsmouth, and next week it's in Birmingham, and you have to keep finding out where it's
A mobile
gone?
church.
Mobile church. I don't
Church
know.
on wheels.
Yes. So you actually go into the church at, say, Birmingham, and then when you get out of the church, oh bloody hell, where am I now? I'm in Carlisle. You know? So,
Aren't they called gypsies? The ones that do that.
Yeah.
now here's one for you, Paul. Are you ready? Now let's do some pool baiting. Now, you're
Paul
chomping at the bit
baiting.
here. Pool bait. Here it comes. If you import the third, this is Pink Planet. If you import the third world, you become the third world. That is UK now.
Well, yeah. But of course, you and I and the people listening here, we're not involved in any decisions about whether that should take place.
Did you hear about that new movie that's out? That's Citizen Vigilante movie.
I heard about it earlier today, but I don't know much about it.
I think the lead actor is like related to Armand Hammer. You know, you ever?
Oh, wait a minute.
That sounds encouraging. Yeah. Right.
He's like one of the main financiers of the Bolshevik Revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah. That turned out
They're
great.
trying to get people, on edge.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going through the period of escalating violence as they are projecting all these stories to do that. Not that these events are not taking place, but they've been taking place for a long time. But now suddenly they're worthy of real agitation force into our heads. It seems to be part of it. But yeah. No. By the way, who took up the position of immigration officer for Fockham? Who was that? Was that?
I don't know if we have. Go on.
Alice
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous?
Yeah. She
Alice
did.
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
Yes,
remember?
yes, we have. You're quite right, and that's a good point. So, Alice Gorgeous, we need some, need some ideas from you about immigration. Now, Barefoot Foreigner says, "I love Paul talking about the UK. It's great to know that the Holy Land is actually Wales, and Jesus is Cornwall and Glastonbury." Did he?
Well, I tend to the view that he did. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's right.
See how I phrased it gently this week. Yeah, I do. Well, I think there's a lot of, let's call it then, circumstantial evidence to indicate that there's much strength to that story. Let's put it that way.
Well, also, Mark Anthony says social media has amplified the fear that's being reported. Every little incident is blown up and manipulated to push an agenda. And Blue Ray said, Zionists created the third world, which is supported by people paying taxes. Spot on. Yes.
I think the social media thing point there is a good one, because it's like escalating, feeding a frenzy of hysteria. That many of the people that are putting out things into YouTube or wherever they're putting them out are mimicking, either knowingly or unknowingly, the sort of modus operandi of the mainstream media. It's just another version of it. It's focused on different things, but you see so many headlines that are designed as clickbait to create anxiety. Yeah, you've got words like so-and-so claims. No, he didn't. It just said a sentence. That they use evocative language to sort of promote a kind of emotional response when you're reading this. It's some humdrum exchange of words between two blokes in a cafe. You could pick this stuff up all over the place.
It's like the old party
Manchester
line.
housewife declares war on migrants.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I don't like. All she said was, "I don't like him being here very much," or something like that. But it's a major event.
You remember the party line where you could listen in on other people's telephone conversations if you were clever enough? And that's kind of what goes on. You pick up on other people's conversations, and then you can manipulate them later without them knowing that you heard them. And I think that there's an element to what's going on with the social engineering in the same way. They surveil, and they've got the surveillance. They can pick up on what people are actually thinking and then manipulate it to their benefit. The dialectic, the Hegelian dialectic type. scenario.
They're using what we are being used to actually continually reinforce our own prison, in part by the way that the vast majority of people continue to think about the situation that they're in, because they're still paying, and we're going to pay heavily, far too much attention to people that are fearmongers without substance. In other words, if you keep getting into this state and you haven't examined the content of what's being said, because in 9 times out of 10, if you examine it, it's not there. And it's amplified all over the place. I'm not saying that we're not in the space of imminent danger. We are. I've got that. But I think it's these sort of... It's almost like it's the boring stuff that is the stuff to attack. Because it's the boring stuff, like banking, like taxation, like the laws that are the so-called laws that are being impressed upon you locally. These are the things to deal with. A, because they are directly affecting people that we live with, even if they might not have directly affected you just yet. And it's something that you've got a good reason to get behind and sort out. It's like the so-called little stuff. They are in breach of so much of their own law. And everybody's got a sense of that. We've had all these little movements, haven't we, recently? And they're all based in some kind of sense, even if they're not the right way to do it. Common law, sovereign on the land, all these sorts of things. They're hacking away at the leaves, and I think a few are getting through to the roots now. And you go, oh, that's really a rather dull thing. Yeah, it is. It's like going into a library and going, look, the answers are all in these books, and someone's got to sit down and read them, because we're going to come up with the right sentences to throw back at them that are going to stop them in their tracks. It's like a battle of computer code. We've got a virus in our operating system and it's wrecking it, and people are beginning to sense it. And you go, okay, how do we deal with that? Well, we've got to put up a firewall. That's one of the things we've got to stop more of it coming in. We've got to increase our ability to detect it when it's happening. And then when we've detected it, we have to find a way of expunging it ASAP and letting them know that if they keep on doing more of that, we're going to find them faster and get them out faster, so that it becomes a worthless thing for them to do. Of course, you are not taught any of this by design during your so-called period of education. They don't teach you the things that would make you more resilient against the crap that they want to cover you in.
And also, we don't have as much time with the elderly, because when you look at tribal societies, the elderly are highly regarded because they have the wisdom.
Skills.
And that's right, the skills to pass on to the next generation. And they're almost worshipped, the elderly.
And they've seen things that you haven't. That's right. And this goes back to I've been researching primogeniture inheritance, where the firstborn son.
You said something very interesting.
Yeah. Where the firstborn son is the one who knows what the family was like before the other children were born, and what the youth of the parents are more in their minds. They have more knowledge of the history, and that it is conveyed to the rest of the family through them. Yeah. And that's where you get the basis for society. Your society grows from their memory and the recollection of that. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking too, Paul, when you were talking about grammar, I'm learning Russian, and you don't just learn it all of a sudden. You have to exercise and be diligent in reading and learn the rules, because you can't just talk how you want to talk. You make it up as you go along. You got to there are rules and structure to a language, that whether it's computer programming or another language, and then speaking it and listening to it are two different things, but they coincide. And if you don't ever immerse yourself in that culture either, you'll never have an opportunity to speak it. So there's a lot going on with that.
I mean, tapping into what you've just said, and also what Eric was saying as well about old people. Even if old people are sat around not saying much, they carry a certain sort of frequency or vibrational, there's a type of energy. And I was reading something the other day about what you should be doing when you get past 60. And it was saying, because if you track it through as a story, you start off very, very small, and you're 1,000% dependent on your parents to get through each day. You don't know this consciously, but this is obviously the case. And then you get bigger, and then you start doing your own thing, and you leave the nest, metaphorically, possibly, a little bit later these days, I guess. But off you go, and then you get the burdens of the middle years, supposedly, and the great joys as well. But it becomes far more challenging, as it should, and you grow. And then you hit a certain point where maybe, where the children have left home, and the nest is empty, and suddenly you've got a lot of me time. I think that's the modern phrase, isn't it, or something like that. And what do you do with it? I mean, it's quite an interesting challenge in a way to sort of, you have to go, oh, bloody hell, I used to have everything my own way, even the family. I chose all that. Everything was. Now I'm not interacting with people in that way. The family years, they're not gone, but they don't demand upon you the way that they used to. And it was really just suggesting that it's time for you to reflect more deeply on the eternal verities of life. And I think it is in part, and older people naturally carry that with them. And of course, they became mocked, didn't they? This whole thing about splitting the generations up. You talk that we don't spend so much time, with grandparents or even great grandparents, if you're fortunate enough to have them. I never was fortunate enough to have those, unfortunately. It would have been amazing, you think, and to just be respectful in that way, because it's almost as if you pick stuff up without words being spoken. You're just hovering around something that's of you. So there's a great sort of comfort in that, to be quite honest. I think it makes for a more stable people.
I had one great grandparent in my life, and she's one of the more memorable people for the history of how she grew up and learning that. I mean, I remember these things. It's amazing, and it was so young at the time.
Well,
they don't last very long.
When you think about it, someone was born in. Carry on, mate. Yeah, carry on. It's all right, Anurag.
I say it always feels like we dump off our elderly in. Like my mum's in a care home, and I sit here and even just now I was thinking, how could I get her out of there? There's nothing I could do to get her out of there. But it feels like we dump them in effectively a prison cell, basically, with the door open. And it's horrible when you think about it. How we treat our elderly people is wrong.
And you have a job.
It's hard to actually be able to. I wish I could take my mum out of there and have her living with me, but I know I couldn't, and it just simply wouldn't work.
If you had piles of money, Paul, if you had piles of money, could you do it? Yeah. If money were no object and someone said, here's £1 million, could you do it the way that you wanted to?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So the reason one of the reasons why people don't have £1 million or that we don't have a system is that it's robbed out. This is the degree to which it's robbed out of your pockets whilst you're alive.
Oh, spot on.
We're not actually talking about anything that's really onerous when you think about it. It's just about living peaceably with people that you love or that you hope, that you're connected to family-wise. There's not a problem with that. I mean, also, I suppose another aspect of it is, are we living longer? I'm told that we are. I sense that we probably are.
That's bullshit.
Is it really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, wasn't it after Noah that everybody was confined to 120 years max?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And that's not really changed much since.
Well, that's it. I mean, I don't think it is. I mean, there's pictures of when photography first came out. I mean, you had Fox Talbot, but I think he was about, 1830s, 40s, something like that. But then about 1850s and 60s, you see people that are 104, 105 then. So, and look at that French woman that lived.
But were they the rule or just the exception? I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I just don't know, Eric. And I know that I never met one of my grandfathers. He died when he was 58, which is young, right? Although when I saw his photograph when I was 6, he was the most ancient-looking person I ever saw in my life, right? And thought, no wonder he's dead. Look how old he is. He's 58, right? It was just absolutely, that's how you think when you're sort of brand new, don't you? And then my grandma died when she was 73. My other grandparents on my father's side, they died in their 70s too. Now, my parents lived into their 80s. My dad made 90. And I don't know. I actually don't have the data. And I'm not arguing for the fact that we should live short or whatever. I mean, I don't know. How much time do you need? I mean,
today might be your day.
You never can tell, and it's just like, are we all living to keep on living? And if we are, in terms of the clock, the watch, the wristwatch, look, I've got another day in, or is it something else? You never know when your number's going to be up, although most of us sort of bumble along to 60s and 70s, but some people don't make it out of the 30s, due to all sorts of tragedies and things like that.
But as an article on the Telegram,
if you're happy, if you're living life and you're happy, not in the, I mean, we all enjoy life, but if we weren't in this slave system and we were free, we'd potentially be happy. And we'd enjoy life even more because we'd do
in the Bible,
we want to
Paul,
do. We'd be enjoying we'd be out in nature. We'd be loving every part of life. And on the back of that, you'd want to live as long as you possibly can. Whereas, I suppose with the slave system that we've got now, we're effectively forced to work from the age of, I suppose technically, at primary school, all the way through to the age of 60. So you've spent what should be your best part of your life earning money for these shitbags in power.
I agree.
And the only bits you actually get to enjoy are the bits at the beginning of your life and the bits towards the end of it. And it's wrong.
Paul,
it should be the other way around. Maybe, I don't know, maybe work should come at 60.
In the Bible, it says that a happy man is a just man. So if you practice justice in your life and you follow that, you're going to be happy. And that's the key to it.
It is. I think it is. It develops that old quality called character, and I don't really want to define it. I just know it's a feeling, I think. And of course, it's a bit more than that. But I think you're right, Patrick, all of those sorts of things. And, you get these sorts of films where people are faced with choices. Do you want to have £1 million a day and then drop dead? That kind of stuff. Or do you want to live in poverty? Well, poverty is not much fun. If you're in want of the necessities of life, which is how I define it, as long as you've got the basics, you can do good things. And it's not simply just about having purchasing power. I mean, some people get a lot of purchasing power and it destroys them.
You don't need much. I would suggest reading the book of Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus, where it talks about that, where a man really, you need a roof over your head, you need food, you need bread on the table. You don't need much, and if you can be satisfied with just the necessities, it doesn't have to be too little, too much. It's what you're given. You're going to be a happy person.
It's inner peace and happiness, and I believe that being creative is gives you inner peace. Because you've produced something, you didn't. I mean, I actually love making things. I've always loved making things and being creative. Whether I am or not, it's for other people to judge. But this is what I like doing. Repairing things. And by the way, Alice Gorgeous, who's come in now, she said that she would ban drones. So there we go. There's Alice.
All right.
Yeah. So that's a good one there. But
I'm hoping that within Fockham Hall we get all old world buildings as well, because on Friday I was down in London for photographing the trains and the buses down there, and it's interesting the difference in feeling, and it's hard to explain, but my initial starting point was not Russell Square, outside Warren Street Station, photographing the buses there, and there was a lot of pressure around my head, if that makes sense. And then my next stop was down to Brixton, which is all old world buildings. And I'm not joking. The pressure around the head disappeared off, even to the point where across the road from where I was stood, there's an old building with a clock tower on it, with a bell still in it, and actually chimed. It was just so nice to be stood there listening to that and thinking, this is Brixton. Yeah, Brixton's. I know it's very cultural, but it's an amazing place. There's so many old world buildings there. It's unbelievable. It's a great place, brilliant place.
Well, Pink Planet has said, government wouldn't give me anxiety about crime. Just live in the real world and see the experience of what's going on. They moved inner London near us now to new flats. Henry Nowak's sister that's Nowaks, sister, worked in our store. Yes, what they've done, I mean, it was a beautiful rural environment. And what they're doing now, they're moving inner London problem families, which they've always done, out into the countryside, out into the suburbs. And round near the station, Chisholm Station, they've built this new load of flats, and they're going to move a lot of, well, quite honestly, it's going to be like the streets of San Francisco. You know, it's just awful. And that's right next to the Lee Valley, which is a beautiful, picturesque area. And I wouldn't be at all surprised you go into those woodlands soon, it'll be full of old mattresses and junk and crap and Coke cans. I mean, it's already. I mean, I was cycling all last year through the Lee Valley, and what I like is that you go into it and you can cycle for miles without seeing anybody. And when you always know when you get near civilization, because you get more people. And okay, this terrible racket going along, and there was a bloke walking along with one of these beatbox things on full blast, and there's birds singing, there's nature. If he wants to do that, why walk through nature with sort of this thing on for everybody else that has to hear it? It's just this sort of noise.
He's probably not having a good time in his life, and it's a way to drown it out.
Yeah, but
you can't win, really, can you? I know what you mean, Eric. I mean, it's just, so let's suppose you ban the playing of music in transistor radios and boom boxes, or whatever they're called these days. I obviously showed my age. I don't know what the hell it is, right? So what's the alternative? Well, they put earbuds in, right? So then you put earbuds in, and then everybody's cut off from one another. Okay.
Didn't they ban musical instruments in Ireland? Wasn't that a thing?
It wouldn't surprise me if it was. What, to subdue them and demoralize them?
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No
well,
doubt.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with music,
me.
Music is a good thing if you're producing it, but if you're just consuming it all the time, it gets old.
But it's an interesting thing. I mean, music is pretty powerful. Do you really need to? I know people that used to sort of listen to it all the time. Like all day, right? And it used to worry me. And then they'd have enormous record collections. I'm not picking on you, Patrick. I know you do. But
I know.
You know what I mean?
I can't handle it though. I understand because
it's like it's so overwhelming. You go, what, you're going to listen to all of this all the time, every day for the rest of your life? What are you going to do with the rest of it? And they become sort of nerds about it, and it's not healthy. It's like, look, here's a piece of music that I think is really beautiful. I don't want to hear it all the time, because if I hear it every 3 or 4 months, it's amazing. If I hear it every 3 or 4 hours, I'm going to wear it out. There's a bit of magic in there, and it's a bit like you overconsume it. I remember when we worked in this company, there was a record company in it, and there were guys that worked in the studio there producing albums. As they did. One of them actually won some awards for producing an album for the Moody Blues. This would be about 1985 or 86, something like that. But the guys that worked in there, you've heard of Studio 10. They're just in there in the dark, right? Absolutely grinding away. It's an enormously time-consuming job getting these things just right, because their ears get more and more sensitive the longer they've done it. Go, that's crap, Teddy, and all this kind of stuff. But they get cut off. In a way, there's sort of like something wonderful about music, and it's a bit like eating caviar all the time. Not that I've eaten it much, but that's the analogy. You go, look, this is amazing stuff. Oh, I want to eat it all the time. I don't think you want to eat it all the time.
You eat oysters every day. Yeah,
you don't want to do it all the time. No, don't go over. And that's what we've got a bit with the music thing. Of course, became such a money spinner, and the marketing of it became what it is. And what have we had to? Not that I consume it, but, from a cursory glance at what the so-called charts have been like, or albums, it's just all produced by a big sort of computer program that basically goes, oh, you change it and you do this, and you have this kind of backbeat, and you do all this kind of stuff, and you go, what's the point of this? And I think it's a bit like with a lot of these things that get produced, people go, listen to this, and go, yeah, look, mate, that's an electronic machine that you program to do it. Well done, you. And maybe intermittently you might hit something that strikes a chord. But what personally, what I want to see is somebody who picks up a guitar or plays the piano and gets it a bit wrong every now and again, so that every performance is subtly and uniquely different. And you go, right, I've played, if you're brilliant at playing piano, you don't sit down and say, I'm going to play it to you all for 12 hours straight. No,
right.
Stop.
Well, it's
we
like
need
Hollywood
a break,
movies.
man.
It's like Hollywood movies where they just keep making the remake of a movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like number 10 of the movie.
It's on autopilot. It's not conscious. Most of it is just, and I watch a lot of these things where people are going back and listening to bands from the 60s and 70s. You've probably seen on YouTube reaction videos. They're very revealing, actually. Some of them are brilliant. There's one woman who's an opera singer, really trained in communicating about the shifts in key, the break of the beat and everything. And she goes through some of this rock stuff. It's fantastic to listen to. The way she takes it apart, not in a negative way, but shows you what's happening. And I'm going, I find that really interesting, but then I am a bit dull, but I do, then sometimes you just go, look, just put that blasty record on because we all want to jump about. But there are so many people armed with guitars and things that really shouldn't be.
Well, even the AI
sound like
stuff
a right twat, but it's true.
It's the writing that is interesting, the storytelling. So
Yes,
like this AI stuff is fascinating, and it can be really bad slop, or it can be quite actually better than even some of the stuff that people sing, like a normal song. It's the writing though
I was going to say
gets
that
you. Same with
a lot of our railway stations down at Leamington Spa last Monday, and Leamington Spa is an oldie worldy type station, the old as they used to be. And in the middle on platform
Royal
on the
Leamington
London side,
Spa.
there's a piano, and there was a piano that people can play. And the amount of times where you just stand there and just sit there and just watch the trains go by, and you can hear somebody playing the piano in the back. It's amazing.
Here we
Brilliant,
go.
brilliant stuff.
Yeah, they're good, those pianos, aren't they? Hey, I tell you what, Eric, this has gone by quick.
They are.
Yeah, that was
Gone by
great.
Yes.
Thank
Hey?
you, Eric.
Yeah, it's been
Well,
lovely.
thank you for coming on. And but we're still carrying on PukeTube, Rumble in the Jungle, and Holylandradio, Holyland FM. We're just saying goodbye to Food for Thought Radio.
Well, we don't have to say goodbye to... Oh, yeah, we do. We do have to say
Doesn't
goodbye to
matter.
Food for Thought Radio. Where are we? Sunday? Hey, you're on tomorrow night, so tune into FFT tomorrow night. Eric's back at 8. I'm on at 7 with Gary tomorrow night. I don't know what's happening this week. Yeah, there are things happening. So that'll be good.
And if you want to get really pissed off, go onto my Telegram channel where I really
have
piss
been
people
listening
off.
to Fockham Hall with Eric Von Essex. Remember, whatever you do, have a bloody good laugh.
Thank you very much.
Tired of supermarket mysteries? Discover the joy
I
of
think
truly
you can
fresh,
close that
locally
down now,
sourced
Eric.
food. Support farmers who prioritize.
There you go.
He's gone. And that's very good. Thanks.
So with
So,
regards
otherwise,
to the
that was
music
all...
side of things,
Mhm. Yeah, carry on. Sorry.
I was going to
Sorry,
say that
mate.
I was on a bus going down to when my mum and dad were still in hospital back in 2024, and a couple of youngsters got on. They got one of these big radio things, and they were playing some crap music out loud on the bus. And I said, you could do something useful on that and actually play some healing music. And they said, have you got anything we can try? I said, yeah. I said, search Yellow Brick Cinema, and they did, and they started playing it out loud on the bus. There you go. That's a positive use for that speaker that you got there.
That's a good
That's
point.
what
Yeah.
I hope that'll be part of the Fockham Hall rhetoric.
Yes.
Saying of bells. will be
Fockham
part
Hall
of it.
Records, yes.
I agree with you. And Pink Planet has said, and this is very interesting, what she said it. Oh, I've accidentally taken it off. Come on, Pink Planet. That's it. It's not just immigration, it's care in the community. Yes. So they don't keep people in mental health units so much. They let them out amongst us. That's right. And, I mean, there's a chap that he's often in Waltham Abbey. And he actually has an argument with the lamppost. He's swearing and shouting, headbutting it, kicking it. And he's why, I do not know, but there's a particular lamppost he doesn't like. I don't know why he shouts it. And I don't like, I mean, the poor man has got problems. You don't know what's going on in his mind. But you see so much mental illness out in the streets now that they never did occur. I mean, do you see much mental illness where you are, fellas? You know?
Yeah,
I
you
see
do.
I see quite a bit on the television.
Oh yeah.
There's loads there. There's tons of it. They all seem to be slightly mentally off their rockers.
So, yeah.
Yes.
They do a bit, don't they?
The thing I wonder with
Patrick,
with
you're going
the
to say
mental
there's
health
many.
thing
Is there many? Carry on, mate. Yeah, it's all right. You're still there? I think we lost him.
We lose
isn't
him.
the issue with mental health is it linked to the things beginning with V? And if those were banned
The
in
Vex?
Cockham Hall, then potentially there may not be many mental health
it might be a
issues, 'cause I
factor in
suspect a lot of it
some.
Yeah, you got a good point. You got a very good point there. You just got to say, Patrick. I mean, is there many people that's a bit loopy-loo where you are?
Well, I mean, you got to be considerate of people and where they're coming from, and that they're not always to blame for their illness.
I agree with you.
So there's an element of compassion and that might be lacking in society itself that towards those people, to where they're outcast. And I don't know. I you know, that's where belief in God comes in, when it's like you got a greater purpose for life, and that you take care of those people as best as you can. And in a society that doesn't value life, it's hard to find people. You know, you'll see those people out on the street and nobody's taking care of them, and that's not good. And I think that's where the church comes in, because the government's not going to do it on its own.
Well, there's a church that provided benevolence and welfare throughout history. All sorts of churches have, but this is the thing.
You see, don't you think maybe that to some degree, because there are these institutions in our life, such as the church and such as government, that people subconsciously assign over the curative powers to these organizations. When you break it down, organizations have got individual human beings in them. And if the quality of the individual human beings is not there, then you can't get any help. And I think, I don't like I don't like the word mental health. I think they've picked it up and amplified it so that everybody's slightly feeling, am I a bit nuts? It's like everybody's got mental, and they use this phrase, right, all the time, to sort of signify that someone's slightly unstable. I've got mental health issues. I mean, it's so vague. I don't know I really don't know what they're talking about. It doesn't mean too much to me. I just see it as a big sort of psychological brainwashing sort of programming. Oh, we've all got mental health issues now. And I know it seems a bit sort of almost, brutal about it, but I just recall in the past, people are like, snap out of it, right? And I know this, you go, well, that's far too simplistic. And I know there's some people who've got complicated problems and all this, that, and the other. But they're probably, or to some degree, a great reason for those coming about is to do with the absence of people considering the nature of life. In other words, their own life. It's got to be part of you. In other words, even if someone's not much of a philosopher, there's still a bit in there. And philosophy, as far as I understand, is the study of values. So we're all philosophers to some degree, and I think that the more able you are to develop that inner voice, the more impervious you become to these things that beset us, in terms of anxieties. There's loads of things that we can do, I think, on a sort of mechanical or pragmatic level, like the supposed alleviation of debt and poverty and all these things. And you got to, in some regards, we've done a great job compared to things in the past. That said, overall, the system is rotten, and it's always it seems to be creating more and more people of this type, which I think it wants to do, so that they can form charities, and say, oh, well, we need another institution to sort it out. And I just look at these things and go, no. Like today, I went to buy something, and they said, do you want to give an extra 60p to a charity? I said, absolutely not. Didn't tell him why. No way am I giving anything to any charity, because I don't know who it is. It's more sort of like somebody else is going to sort your shit out for you. They're not. They never did. It's always you. And it's a great joy, and it's sort of like that.
I'll give an example of something that can work. At our work, one of the employees decided, I brought in a kind of like a wardrobe cabinet type thing in the kitchen with a communal kitchen, and they decided that they were going to buy groceries and just stock it up with, perishable and non-perishable food items, and just for anybody at work that wanted to take that might be in need of food. And it's like people started taking from there, and it's just like it alleviates some of their burden. And I think that kind of thing is a good thing, a food shelf for the right people. I mean, but then you get these official food shelves where they've got to sign every document that then prove that they need it and all this kind of stuff. That's bull. That kind of stuff. That shouldn't exist.
Well,
it stops. Doesn't that stop
spontaneous
spontaneous giving by people?
Yeah.
What it's done is they're sort of we'll organise your kindness. No, you won't. You'll bugger off. Sometimes you have a good. It's like, I think we've talked about this. I walk past guys here that are sleeping in doorways. I don't give them money every day, but some days, for a reason unbeknownst to me, I do. I'm just in the mood. It just seems the right thing to do then. And
why not?
I just go, here, mate, here's 10 quid. Really? I go, yeah, go on, whatever. I don't care whether he gets boozed up on it or not. I feel every now and again, I don't ask him what he's going to do with it. It's none of my damn business. I wanted to give it to him. And, some of them, you can see they're having a tough time of it. And and then I go away thinking, you pathetic bastard, And then you think, well, how do we stop this? And then you realise that you've got to destroy the bank. Seriously, that's how my thinking goes. I just go, right, what's causing this? Those banking bastards.
Greed. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's the slave system, which I mentioned earlier. That's what it boils down to. Is
it could be a beneficent slave system. Sorry, Paul. There might be a delay.
Like you said, like with Chicago, where there's like parts which are really, really dodgy. Is it the slave system that has brought those places into being dangerous in the first place? Because the people who live there are so poor, they have no choice but to basically fight each other because they don't know anything else. They don't have any prospects and stuff.
Right,
like
because
that.
everything's been taken from them. To an extent, you're right.
Yeah.
Because if it's an unjust system where you have these people who have immense wealth, and then you have people who are poor, it's like, how can you justify having that much money when, somebody who would have to earn those wages at a normal wage would have to spend hundreds of years just to equal it. It's like there's an imbalance when it comes to that needs to be balanced. And we're using words like banks use, like balance your checkbook and all this kind of stuff. It's weird how they use it.
You're right. I think there's another aspect to it as well. How do you keep the middle class in line? You make sure that there's a really poor class below them that indirectly threatens them. You don't want to end up like that.
Yeah.
This is like a subtle subconscious thing. You don't want to end up like that. So people conform more and more, working the system, the mouse in the wheel thing, to make sure they don't end up like that. They don't ever want them to go away. They're like a big warning sign, so they're going to keep them there to keep you in line. There's all sorts of indirect, subtle things that take place with all this stuff. And, I guess we are all geared up in a way. We want to be winners. Does that imply that there has to be some losers? I don't know. Maybe it does. I mean, I don't like it as an idea. And yet they always say there's a dignity in poverty. There ain't much. There's not that much in it, And if you look at sort of the London that Dickens described, what was he? You have to keep stepping out and getting a bigger frame of reference. We're talking about a situation then in history where over the previous 150 years, tons of people have been hoovered off the land into factories and sweatshops and crammed into cities, which had not been thought through because they didn't give a crap anyway. These were just production units, right, for doing stuff. It bred a completely different culture, some of which is very rich, certainly because hardship does create all sorts of creativities. But overall, you wouldn't look at it and say it's wholesome. This is why everybody still looks at pictures of the Cotswolds and goes, I want to live there. Of course you do. We all want to live there. We all want to live with a little river at the end of the thing and a garden patch and happy neighbours. We don't want to live in squalor, having a noble life of a peasant, being beaten to death and dropping dead from lung disease at 46 or whatever the bollocks they got. But that's they've kept them there. They've kept this thing, and now what's it morphed into? Fear through the news agencies. Now, see, this will happen if you don't have a government. We're all gonna. Oh yeah, we must have one. I've got to vote for the right guy to get in. Yeah, right. You know.
But ultimately, I suppose, what do we actually win at? Because I suppose ultimately the ultimate destination for all of us is a patch of ground in the church somewhere at some point down the line.
Death.
Eternal happiness. Sorry, but eternal happiness is our lot that we want.
Yeah, but
in the end.
Death is nature's way of telling you to slow down a bit, isn't it? Really, you hand in your dinner jacket. You know, so,
you got to say it's pretty impressive. The whole thing's really quite impressive. The more you can stand back and sort of get and recontextualize it all the time, which you have to do. I think, you think about things differently with each passing day. You don't notice. A few years go by and you suddenly go, oh, I'm not viewing that the way I did when I was 10. No, you're not,
Well, that's so, it. You're still the same person, but you just sort of view the world in a different way. And I think that is what wisdom, you get wisdom from mistakes and things that have gone wrong. That's where you get sort of the wisdom from, But so Pink Planet says here, where is it now? A lot of children in care homes have been abused, end up on drugs and homeless.
Yeah.
Now, and Ian,
that is a problem.
Ian Armitage says, when will you buy the noodles for the eating from my shop in the deli? Buy
the noodles for the eating from my shop in the deli. They run a deli.
Are you in Delhi in India? We
don't
know.
That kind of deli.
Yeah, that might be. I don't know, because I had the Delhi belly. I had that in Greece, you see, and that is where it's called a Bengal's Quick Step. When you go abroad, so, you should know all about the toilets in Greece, yes.
You get used to the water eventually.
Yes, that's it. Well, in Athens, you pour yourself a glass of water and you can't see through it because it's got so much fluoride in it, because they're absolutely obsessed with typhoid, avoiding typhoid.
And then you go to these places where the toilet is a hole in the ground.
Yes, that's in Greece as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
just try using the toilets on board the old Czech trains. That's probably the weirdest thing ever. In the respect that on our trains in the UK, they actually have a toilet bowl with some water in it, whereas in the Czech Republic, it was basically just a dry pan. So if you went for a dump, quite often it'd just stand there on end. It's just looking at you and think, mate, this is wrong.
Well, they used to say that you mustn't flush the toilet when it's in the station, because the trains used to there's just a hole in the ground.
Dump it on the ground.
And it just I think I did that everywhere, didn't they? So if you're standing on a railway track, you get sort of feces sort of flies everywhere. But now I think they use chemicals. But what got me is the train I took to Stoke-on-Trent once, and I was on board that, and it was a rockety old thing. Yeah, I know. And what got me is how you can relieve yourself in this lavatory. I do not know. I mean, I think it was cleaned out when the train was built. And that must have been about 30 years ago. My godfathers. And, I mean, I suppose 500 flies can't all be wrong, but it was disgusting. It's not cleaned out at all. Absolutely vile,
Well, often, I don't know if this might not mean anything to anybody, but do you remember the old Pacer trains, the old rail buses they introduced around the likes of Yorkshire, in fact, Leeds, I suspect Paul might remember these. And they were basically four-wheel chassis on passenger vehicles. They used to bounce about low, and they had a toilet on board. How could I ever? There's no way I could stand in there and for the pan, because it'd just go everywhere. I'm sure that's why the interiors of those toilets were yellow.
Yes.
I saw some guys today on a video that had gone up to a museum, the Beamish Museum in County Durham, and it was basically life 100 years ago, and there was this entire village there and all that kind of stuff. And they got on the tram, and the tram just looked fantastic. I mean, they got on it and they went, well, there were two American guys. They're going, how happy are you? He goes, I'm like a kid. He said, it's just amazing. And they were just looking at the sort of the shape of the lamps, all the brass finishings on the handles. The whole thing was like just an experience of, we are striving to improve the quality of your life. That's what it felt like.
Yes, that's what we're going to get back to.
We want you to feel good about life. We've put a lot of effort into designing this and putting this stained glass and these patterns, which you don't need for a transport mechanism, but you're on it. And whilst you're on it, we want you to feel good about things and maybe to draw inspiration from it, or to just to see a thing well organized. And the whole mechanical nature of the tram is so engaging to the mind. You know, the guy with the big lever and the wheel and all this kind of stuff. And there's a whole sort of theatre to it taking off. And you go, oh, this man is driving it's really humanly connected. It's why I used to love compartments and stuff, and ticket collectors coming in, always having a bit of banter with the ticket collectors in the compartments. Where are you lot going? We're going out. Oh, are you? And then he'd end up talking to you. As we used to shoot over to York a lot from Leeds in the sort of late 70s, early 80s on compartments in trains. It's only like a 25-minute journey. It was a blast. It made the whole evening like more of an event. Now, it's just everything's about so-called economic efficiency, but it's not. It's very close to that mouse utopia thing. Everything's clean. Look at this lovely clean bullet train. Yeah. No, it's crap. It's got no character. I'm not interested how fast it goes. Who gives a monkeys about that? You know, it's just... Has everybody just sit on the train going, oh, this is economically efficient? Yeah, that's really improved my life. I feel really good about that. That's a memory I'll never forget. I mean, it's just everything's the same. It's just all plastic and crap. So it's that old, people adding value for no damn good reason other than to add value. That's what gives you joy. You go, why did you make it look so beautiful? Because I wanted to.
Because you put a lot of labor into it.
And it comes across.
Had flowers all over them, didn't they?
Yeah, they're just lovely. They're great, and you don't notice. As a kid, you couldn't give a crap, could you? Because when it's gone, you go, something's missing. What's that thing that I used to feel when I used to walk through these spaces that's no longer there? Oh, I know. It's all glass and steel. It's like some sort of hermetically sealed dullard's place. It really is. It's just awful. It's terrible.
It's like those carpets you see in Iran.
And even down to things like the the old trams and the old trolley buses, the wind of the motors and stuff on the axles. They produce such a lovely sound, which again probably healed us, just like the bells probably did. You know what I mean? It's that technology. And even I mean, we had some Class 86 locomotives that were still knocking about up to 2022. They were 70 years old, and I was stood at Ipswich the one day, and a pair went through. And I was just listening to the motors on that. They were just amazing, just the whine and the. Oh, it's amazing. I'd love to go back to that. That's one of the reasons why I love the old Czech stuff, because the old Czech electric locos, you could hear them from a mile off, and they zoom to them. It's hard to explain. It's very hard to explain, but they are beautiful sounding things.
Yeah,
there's something about that culture. The culture comes with it. It's like these Persian carpets where these women sit and spend years making them, and they end up costing hundreds of thousands of dollars for these things. It's just beautiful. You look at something like that, magnificence, and then you look at something just churned out of a factory or a mill, and there's no comparison to the amount of labor and time spent building these things and the culture that you're dealing with. Like you're talking about the Czech trains, like Croatia and Czechoslovakia. These places have been occupied by industry for thousands of years of high quality, labor, and that's like the labor is the source of all value and money. And if you have tons of money but you have nothing, you don't know what the value of labor is. I think that's part of our problem in society is that you got the wrong people with the money that don't know the value of the labor that goes into that money, what took place to build it.
That's right. We've also got people that I think there's a certain people that are hypnotized by social engineers. and we'll do what. And this is what I was getting to today with this write-up I was doing about this fad of tattoos and piercings. I mean, sailors and soldiers have always had tattoos. That's part of it, and they're proper blokes, and I haven't got a problem there. But I do have a problem when you see people walking around looking completely and utterly ugly, and they've done it to themselves. I mean, we're born with a body, and I feel very sorry for these people that have got. That are born with the disfigurement and things like that, and people that have been injured and got disfigured. Why these people are shoving ink and crap all over themselves, I'll never know. It just doesn't. It's just beyond. I just can't understand it.
Probably they've got trauma in their life, early life trauma.
Maybe,
and then it explains it. Maybe I don't know.
I think the most important thing, though, is to be kind to people, because you never know what's going on inside their minds.
Yeah,
you don't know what hell or what battles they're fighting. You really do not know, But Alice Gorgeous, here we are, Alice. We need to have the Fockham dating, you see.
Matchmakers.
Matchmakers, yes. I get on better with men, to be honest with you. I'm a man's woman. I got on better with women.
I'm not sure you can really call it. Fockham Hall dating though, because I think that sounds more like.
How about we need the Fockham Hall monthly dance? That's what you need.
That's
you
it.
Need dancing.
Or I don't.
Because it's so awkward for men. It's just hilarious. It's really good for us to be sort of gawky and stupid and no good, and it gives the women lots to gossip about and see just how daft we are, and all that kind of stuff. But then, of course, you have those other events. I mean. When was the last time you really got dressed up and looked as sharp as you possibly could? How long ago?
Tonight.
Today. I went to church today.
Right. I mean, I remember this. I remember back in the 80s, we used to have the company do used to be at the Dorchester on Park Lane, right? And so we all had to get dinner jackets and all that kind of stuff. And so I used to hire mine. But but when you rock up to a place and you're working with a lot of the people, there are like 250 of us there, and the women just looked amazing. Yeah. They looked amazing. It wasn't so much that you fancied them or anything. Of course, I'm sure a bit of that floated through every bloke's head, right? But it was just the fact that everybody had just knocked themselves out to turn up and look great. And you go, this is pretty cool, actually. It really, and most of us would now be kind of awkward about that. I mean, could you really turn up and look sharp like a geezer from the 1930s, Lord Fockham going to the ball? Yeah. We don't have those experiences. They're a lot of fun. They don't happen every day. People go, "That's a bit ostentatious." No, you might go to maybe half a dozen in your life. Really, some people maybe never even go to any of them. It's like what we should do once a year. We should have a Fockham Hall meal and get together at the Ritz. I'm serious. Why don't we just do it? Just play act. It could be fun. Maybe no one can afford it. And of course, we'd have to go to London's stand, so it'd probably ruin the whole experience. But you get the idea. Stuff like that. I just don't. I looked at I thought, I'm in shorts and t-shirts all year round, right? And because I'm comfy, I've got work to do and stuff like that. But I thought, I'm never really going to get invited to a big posh do, am I? No, I'm not again. My circumstances don't lead to it. And I really enjoyed all that, pretending just for a moment that you had a slightly different life. I don't mean in a deluded way. It was just great. And people behave so well when they're dressed well. They do. They really do.
I do wear suits and things like that. Sorry,
carry on, mate. Somebody comes along and says, do you hold balls in Fockham Hall? I'm not answering that one.
Don't we have a minister for that? Isn't there a minister for that? There should be the minister of balls.
What, for holding balls?
Yeah.
Ed?
Yeah, Ed. Sorry, I think we've got a very strange, sometimes a bit strange in chat. Can anybody sort of, what is going on? I think it might be someone from overseas. Who's into English.
Somebody from overseas? What's going on around here? Where's the Fockham Hall defence system?
That's right.
I don't mean that if you're from overseas. Well done.
But, is that Alice's job?
Yes, but actually, did I tell you about dating agency I went to? Yeah, I went to this one called Screwfix. And what I did, I bloody useless it is. All it is, I looked in Screwfix. What it was pictures of sort of hand tools and screwdrivers and things. Can't understand the reason why. Sorry, for those of you outside the United Kingdom, Screwfix is where you go and buy tools from. Sorry, but they should be called a dating agency.
Yeah, Eric, I'm going to say adios now.
I am as well. And
До свидания.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
And toodly pips. And,
Toodly pips.
Anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us tonight. And thank you, everyone in chat. It's been absolutely fantastic. And please join me tomorrow night, same time, same place, 8 o'clock. And also join Mr. Paul English on Thursday. Do you know what's coming up on Thursday, Paul? On Rumble,
indigestion, possibly. I don't know.
Yes.
Is it a 3-hour show or 2?
It probably will be 3, I suppose.
Yeah.
I have no. Yeah, probably going to be 3. So, I've got some guests lined up for a few more weeks' time because we've got some more shows coming into Food for Thought Radio. So, spoke to a very interesting geezer yesterday. First call with him ever. 2 hours it was. Full on.
Wow.
It was really interesting. Yeah, it was great. He's going to be having a show on FFT. I'm not going to say any more. I'll talk about it more on Thursday, but that was really good. So, yeah. And of course, it's the festival season now. Well, not that I've ever been to one of these things, but there's quite a few coming up. So, lots of work on those sorts of things. So, I think there's quite a few things. But I don't know, I feel in a light mood. But by the time we get around to Thursday, hopefully I'm full of darkness and doom and things like that. So, we'll see what's going to happen on Thursday. Yeah, Thor's Day, the god of thunder.
Thor's, it's not a speech impediment. It's
Thor's Day. Yeah, Thor's Day.
Anyway,
So-
please join us. And as I say, Alice Gorgeous is now, a Minister of Immigration. Immigration. That's excellent. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. And remember, thank you very much, by the way, for everybody, including Pink Planet, who bought me a coffee. That's ever so kind. It's much appreciated.
Do more of that.
Good. Yeah, coffee drink. And what?
Kindness.
Please, that's right.
Yeah.
Shove your thumb up and consider subscribing. It does help by subscribing if you're on YouTube and Rumble. And whatever happens, have a bloody good laugh